Chapter 1448. The Azure Flower Continent, the Northern Continent, the Canopy Great Country. A silver-haired youth flashed through the air, a nostalgic look in his eyes as he scanned his surroundings. Not much has changed. Zhao Feng muttered. The Canopy Great Country was still under the control of the Iron Blood cult. He had originally planned to find Tiamat to reminisce, but Tiamat was not in the cult, and Patriarch Hong was nowhere to be seen. As he passed by the 6 Warlock Divine Tower, Zhao Feng paused for a few moments. The 6 Warlock Divine Tower was extremely famous throughout the Azure Flower Continent. All of this was because a sage had once lived within it. Although the sage was no longer here, the tower remained, becoming a legendary ancient building of the Canopy Great Country. Could the sage also be a member of the Heaven's Legacy race? Zhao Feng couldn't help but think of the big lazy cat next to the 6 Warlock Divine Sage, which was also a Heaven's Legacy cat. He had seen the big lazy cat in the Light Race Divine Kingdom. This meant that the 6 Warlock Divine Sage was also in the ancient desolate realm of gods. Zhao Feng couldn't help but tremble. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, he had killed Yu Heng, who had the bloodline of the ancient race, and Yu Heng was originally a member of the Heaven's Legacy race. In addition, he had offended God Lord's stellar aspect of the Heaven's Legacy race. One could say that he had thoroughly offended the Heaven's Legacy race. If the 6 Warlock Divine Sage was also a member of the Heaven's Legacy race, would they fight in the future? As a member of the Heaven's Legacy race, why did he come all the way from the ancient desolate realm of gods? The Heaven's Legacy race was a mythical race ranked 3rd among the 10,000 ancient races, and the 6 Warlock Divine Sage, who possessed a Heaven's Legacy cat, was undoubtedly extraordinary. But such an expert had deigned to live on a speck of dust in an outer zone. Was it because of Zhao Feng's 9th God Eye? The sage shouldn't have known that I was the 9th God Eye at the time. Zhao Feng shook his head. The sage had not revealed this point at the time, only saying that Zhao Feng's left eye had a chance of growing to the level of the 8 great God Eyes. But even so, the 6 Warlock Sage should have been very interested in Zhao Feng's left eye. Logically speaking, as a member of the Heaven's Legacy race, he should have seized Zhao Feng's eye to study. However, the sage had not done so. This made Zhao Feng feel a little puzzled, and his worries lessened. He felt that since the 6 Warlock Sage had not taken his eye, he would not make an enemy out of Zhao Feng if they met again in the future. I don't care anymore. Zhao Feng shook his head and quickly left. Trying to fathom the thoughts of the Heaven's Legacy race was simply tormenting one's mind. Not long after, Zhao Feng arrived at Flooding Lake City. Buzz. A layer of dreamy mist appeared on Zhao Feng's body. Gradually, his appearance changed to that of Zhao Feng, who was born in the Azure Flower Domain. In the study of the city lord's mansion, Lu Jiutian held an ink painting and looked at the quiet and serene woman on it. A hint of affection appeared on his weathered face. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door outside the study. Who is it? City Lord Lu put away the ink painting, a scholarly and dignified expression on his face. Uncle Lu, it's me. Zhao Feng pushed open the door and entered. He could enter the city lord's mansion without anyone noticing, but the study was Lu Jiutian's private space, so he had to knock before entering. Feng her. City Lord Lu's expression froze, and his eyes went wide as he stared at Zhao Feng. Ever since Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin disappeared, there had been no news of them in the entire Canopy Great Country or even the entire Azure Flower Domain. Feng, come and sit. City Lord Lu's brows relaxed as he gave an amiable smile. In his eyes, his daughter was already together with Zhao Feng. Although Lu Qinxin had not returned with Zhao Feng, he could learn about Lu Qinxin from Zhao Feng. Qinxin is doing very well. You don't have to worry. This was the only thing Zhao Feng could tell him. There weren't many people in the Azure Flower Domain who knew about the continent or the Lord Dynasty. If Zhao Feng talked about the ancient desolate realm of gods, they would find it even harder to accept. Is that so? City Lord Lu smiled, but there was still a hint of disappointment on his face. Qinshin asked me to give these to you. They're all precious resources that can extend your lifespan. She had something to do this time, so she didn't come back with me, but she said that she would definitely come back to see you. Zhao Feng took out some precious resources from his interspatial dimension. He had bought these resources from the Void Ocean Spiritual Palace on the way here. After all, the quality of his own resources was too high. Even the weakest of them was useful to rank 6 true gods. How could he give them to someone at the true spirit realm? City Lord Lu solemnly took the resources from Zhao Feng's hands. These resources were extremely precious to a peak true lord rank like Lu Jiutian. If he used all of them, he would be able to extend his lifespan by at least 10,000 years. On the second day after Zhao Feng left, City Lord Lu smoothly broke through to the Origin Core realm and became an Origin Core sovereign. Although the main use of these resources was to increase one's lifespan, they could also improve other aspects of a cultivator. Cloud Area, Cloud Country, Broken Moon Clan. The Broken Moon Clan's strength had exploded, and it was now the #1 sect in the 13 countries. Sect Master Yanggan's cultivation had reached the early stages of the true mystic realm. After all, Yanggan had been the head disciple of the Broken Moon Clan back then. He was extremely talented, and with the resources that Zhao Feng had given him before he left, it wasn't surprising that he had cultivated to such a level. Zhao Feng had a sacred status in the Cloud Country and the Broken Moon Clan. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Zhao Feng only let a few people know that he had returned. In the forbidden grounds of the Broken Moon Clan, First Elder, Yanggan, Elder Guan, Elder Zhang, and Ran Xiaoyuan were gathered together. They were undoubtedly the group of people that had the best relationship with the Broken Moon Clan. Zhao Feng, I didn't think that we would be able to see you again. Elder Guan and Elder Zhang's hair were white, and it was obvious that their lifespans were coming to an end. Junior Martial Brother Zhao, how are you doing outside? Yanggan and Lin Fan looked forward to the world outside the Azure Flower Continent. The outside world, you'll know when you get out. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and kept them in suspense. Within the forbidden grounds, the upper echelon of the Broken Moon Clan and Zhao Feng were chatting happily. Before leaving, Zhao Feng took out some resources that could increase one's lifespan. In reality, he could directly increase the cultivation of his former sect members. If their cultivation increased, their lifespan would naturally increase as well. However, it was best to walk step by step on the path of martial arts. After saying goodbye, Zhao Feng went to the place where his parents and the Zhao clan lived. His return naturally caused everyone to be shocked and exclaim. In the following days, Zhao Feng lived here and accompanied his parents. It wasn't easy for him to come back, so Zhao Feng decided to stay here for a while longer. Any powerful cultivator would have a time when they were tired and wanted to rest. At this moment, Zhao Feng was in this state. He treated himself as an ordinary person and accompanied his parents, living a peaceful life. He forgot about cultivation and everything else in the ancient desolate realm of gods. 5 years passed like this. To the current Zhao Feng, 5 years wasn't much. A single seclusion in the ancient desolate realm of gods might last 5 years, or a long journey might last 5 years. As he prepared to leave, Zhao Feng used a heaven-defying method, using the high-level resources of the ancient desolate realm of gods to change his parents' fates and make them immortal. This process was rather long. After all, normal martial artists found it very difficult to absorb true god-level treasures. During this time, Zhao Feng began to research his god eye. The 9th god eye? Then I'll call you the dream god eye. Zhao Feng gave the 9th god eye a name. After a dream, he returned to the Azure Flower Continent. This was simply too inconceivable. The only word that could describe this god eye was dream. Zhao Feng began to research the abilities of the 9th god eye. He realized that using the power of the god eye here would not affect this dimension. He gathered origin energy and fused it into the dream god eye. A moment later, everything in front of Zhao Feng was dyed in dazzling colors. Back then, in a similar situation, I wiped out God Lord Silverwing, God Lord Ghost Centipede, and the others with a wave of my hand. Zhao Feng suddenly thought of something. If that was all real, it would be far too terrifying. Wiping out a person with a wave of his hand. For this reason, Zhao Feng began to research and experiment. On a certain day, buzz. Bzzz. Vast amounts of origin energy surged out of Zhao Feng's left eye. Gradually, everything in front of him became like a dream. Everything was suffused with the most beautiful colors in the world. Zhao Feng touched the table next to him. Pop. Like a bubble popping, the table vanished. This ability, it's real. Zhao Feng was extremely excited. He lightly touched the table and it vanished. He touched the chair next to him, and it also popped like a bubble. Gradually, Zhao Feng's left eye began to throb, and only then did he withdraw from this state. This ability consumes a lot of energy. Zhao Feng said in shock. Although he had only wiped out a table and a chair, maintaining this state consumed a great deal of energy. Back then, perhaps because his god eye had just awakened and he had too much origin energy, he was able to maintain this state for so long and wipe out two powerful first heaven god lords. Besides this consumption, Zhao Feng also felt that his mind was extremely tired, and he even wanted to sleep. It seems like this dreamification ability is also extremely taxing on the mind. But even so, this ability didn't consume divine power, soul energy, or eye intent. Dreamification was what Zhao Feng called this ability. In addition, Zhao Feng thought about how the realization ability also consumed a great deal of the mind and made it easy for him to get tired. I'll just put it down to thoughts. Zhao Feng thought for a few moments before coming to this conclusion. Among them, the main ones that consumed his thought were the realization of dreams and the dreamification ability. Once Zhao Feng succeeded in changing his parents' fates and making them immortal, he left this place. Where's the skeletal division leader? Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. The skeletal division leader guarded the azure flower continent and ensured peace. Zhao Feng should reward it appropriately. Bzzz. Zhao Feng's divine sense spread out, gradually covering the entire azure flower continent. However, he couldn't find any trace of the skeletal division leader. Not even Tiamat or Patriarch Hong could find them. Strange. Zhao Feng went to the Iron Blood religion and learned everything from the upper echelon members. Swish. His figure disappeared. In the outer reaches of the azure flower continent, two groups of people floated in the air within a vast sea of mist. One of them was led by a skeleton with interlaced gold and silver patterns, and the other was a towering man who was 6 meters tall. Skeletal Division Leader, Clan Master Nan Wu, you have no chance of victory. Submit to the evil spirit holy sect. An emaciated black-robed elder spoke in a sinister voice. His aura was at the peak of the king level, far surpassing that of the skeletal division leader and the giant. Next to the emaciated elder were 4 or 5 experts with king auras. TSK, it's useless for you to resist. The whole world will soon be ours. The emaciated elder continued. The skeletal division leader, Clan Master Nan Wu, and the other peak experts of the region all revealed bitter expressions. Chapter 1449. TSK, it's useless for you to resist. The whole world will soon be ours. The skinny old man continued. The skeletal sect leader, Sect Master Nan Wu, and the other peak experts of the other regions all revealed bitter expressions. Several decades ago, in a certain island region of the Azure Islands region, a faction known as the Evil Spirit Holy Sect had rapidly risen to power. In just a few short years, they had swallowed up all the factions in the island region and unified the entire island. But the Evil Spirit Holy Sect quickly extended their sights to the nearby island regions. For example, the Azure Flower Continent and the Flowing Light Continent where Sect Master Nan Wu resided. After sensing the evil spirit Holy Sect's intentions to invade, the two island regions had come to an agreement to fight against the enemy. But the result was unexpected. The two island regions had suffered setbacks time and time again in their struggle against the evil spirit Holy Sect. Now, the three factions were officially clashing. The entire world. Humph, you are far too ignorant. The skeletal sect leader knew that it was no match for the Thin Elder, but the fact that the other had threatened to take over the entire world was laughable. It had once roamed the seas with Zhao Feng, so it naturally knew how vast this region of the sea was and how many colossal beings resided within. And to the north was the Dynasty continent. Kiki, it's you who don't know anything, a bunch of country bumpkins. The Thin Elder had a look of disdain on his face as he savagely smiled. Sect Master, if they do not submit, then use strength to make them submit. A sharp-mouthed elder charged out from the Thin Elder's side, his eyes shining with a fierce blood-red light. Kill! The Thin Elder immediately gave the order. Whoosh whoosh. Boom. Bang. Crash. The evil spirit Holy Sect's forces charged towards the allied army of the Azure Flower Continent and the Flowing Light Continent with savage killing intent. Boom. Bang. Crash. The allied army of the two regions also fought back. Sect leader Hong, Jima, the experts of the Canopy Sky Kingdom, and the upper echelon of the Sacred Alliance were among them. But in just a few moments, the allied army of the two regions was at a disadvantage. Not only did the evil spirit Holy Sect far surpass the allied army in terms of top-notch combat strength, but their middle and upper echelon members also far surpassed the experts of the two regions. According to the investigations of the two regions, the evil spirit Holy Sect's cultivation techniques were of a high and evil level, far surpassing the cultivation techniques of the island regions. Sigh, if only Zhao Feng or Yu Tianhao were here, perhaps everything would be easily resolved. Cult leader Hong sighed sorrowfully. Back then, Zhao Feng and Yu Tianhao were both listed as the king of prodigies. When Zhao Feng left the Azure Flower Continent, he was an emperor, and Yu Tianhao was a peak supremacy. With their potential, it was unknown how much they had grown by now. It's been so many years, but there's still no news from Zhao Feng. Jima shook his head, not harboring any hope. Die. One or two supremacies of the evil spirit Holy Sect charged forward. Patriarch Hong and Jima immediately joined the other true lord ranks to fight back. However, the other party cultivated a profound evil cultivation technique, and his strength was too great, instantly forcing everyone to retreat. Patriarch Hong and Jima both spat out a mouthful of blood. Only one true lord rank remained. All of you, back off. The skeletal division leader roared as an array flag appeared in its hand. Whoosh, a thick layer of ghost corpse flame clouds appeared in the air, emitting a shocking corpse aura and resentment power. 100 pairs of savage and blood-red eyes appeared within the ghost corpse flame cloud. The corpse aura and resentment power exuded by the ghost corpse flame cloud was even thicker than when Zhao Feng had left. Each cursed ghost corpse had an aura approaching the Great Origin Core realm. The moment the ghost corpse array appeared, it intimidated a king of the evil spirit Holy Sect. Adding on the skeletal division leader's own strength and the ghost corpse array, it was able to hold down 3 void god realm kings. This is the legendary skeletal division leader's ghost corpse array. Clan Master Nan Wu glanced at the formation and was secretly shocked. Oh. Although this array has reached its limits, it's not bad. The Thin Elder of the evil spirit Holy Sect floated in the air, watching the skeletal division leader fight. At this time, he still hadn't taken action. The two zones were using all their strength, but they were still at a disadvantage. This sect master has taken a liking to this array. A wicked light flashed through the Thin Elder's eyes, and he suddenly charged forward at the skeletal division leader. Oh no! The skeletal division leader grimaced as its energy began to shrink. Relying on the Ghost Corpse array to deal with 3 kings was already its limit. If another king joined the fray, its defeat would be assured. Moreover, this king was the strongest expert on the enemy side, the peak king of the Evil Spirit Holy Sect, the sect master of the Evil Spirit Holy Sect. The thin elder extended a claw, condensing a massive ghostly claw of white bone that he swung forward. Boom! Bang! The massive ghostly claw slammed into the Ghost Corpse array, unleashing terrifying bone Dao energy. All the ghost corpses in the Ghost Corpse array were instantly shattered, and the array's power instantly diminished. As for the skeletal division leader, it was flung backward from the Ghost Corpse array. No. The skeletal division leader had a ghastly expression. This array was its greatest trump card. It only had the strength of an ordinary king, and it was only by working with the Ghost Corpse array that it could temporarily contend against 3 kings. Once it lost this array, its defeat was assured. Moreover, it had been nurtured step by step until now, and Zhao Feng had left it with this array. Kiki, this array will be mine in the future. The thin elder arrived above the Ghost Corpse array. A powerful soul intent surged out, attempting to erase the soul aura within the array. Hiss! The skeletal division leader's soul imprint was instantly erased by the thin elder. There's someone else's soul imprint, and it's so weak. The thin elder sinisterly smiled as he touched the soul imprint on a few of the ghost corpses. Who is it? When he touched the weak soul imprint on the ghost corpses, the thin elder suddenly sensed an extraordinary aura, and he looked into the distance. The mist scattered, and a silver-haired man appeared before him. This man was calm and elegant, his bright silver hair rippling with dreamy ripples. He was very eye-catching. You want to erase my soul imprint? Zhao Feng asked in a low voice. He had personally raised a few of the ghost corpses in the Ghost Corpse array back in the Purple Saint ruins, and he had never erased their soul imprints. The thin elder had only sensed Zhao Feng's soul imprint after coming into contact with Zhao Feng's soul imprint. You were the one who left that weak soul imprint behind. The thin elder smiled disdainfully. Although the person in front of him was so strange that he couldn't see through his cultivation, how strong could his main body be if the soul imprint was so weak? Zhao Feng. The skeletal division leader suddenly turned its head and looked at Zhao Feng. After a moment of daze, it became extremely excited. Zhao Feng, he's back. The upper echelon of the Sacred Alliance all looked at Zhao Feng with pleading gazes. Back then, Zhao Feng had displayed emperor intent and made the 3 kings of the Pure Moon spiritual sect, Black Cliff Palace, and Moon Demon Palace submit. Deputy Patriarch Zhao. The members of the Iron Blood religion all knelt down. Although Zhao Feng didn't stay in the Iron Blood religion after becoming the Deputy Patriarch, he didn't do anything before disappearing. But everyone in the Iron Blood religion knew of Zhao Feng's deeds. In fact, even though he had never appeared, he already had countless worshippers. Empress Qin, the Canopy Great Emperor, and the others seemed to see hope, but when they thought of their previous grudges with Zhao Feng, they couldn't help but lower their heads. Zhao Feng, who is he? The Nanwu sect master stared at the indifferent and cold silver-haired man in the air. He felt that the other was like the sea of stars, deep and boundless. The Nanwu sect master was the sect master of the number 1 sect in the Flowing Light region. He had only heard that the skeletal division leader had defeated the Scarlet Moon sect master and unified the Azure Flower continent. He wasn't familiar with this Zhao Feng. On the battlefield, the strange expressions of all the members of the Azure Flower continent stunned the members of the Evil Spirit Holy Sect. Who are you? The thin elder stared at Zhao Feng. He had originally thought that the Azure Flower continent had only sent some random upper echelon member, but from the expressions of the members of the Azure Flower continent, this silver-haired man was definitely not simple. I am Zhao Feng, are you deaf? Zhao Feng's expression darkened. You. The thin elder's expression froze, and then he flew into a rage. But no matter what he did, he was unable to sense Zhao Feng's cultivation. Moreover, Zhao Feng's appearance had caused a commotion in the Azure Flower Continent army, so he did not dare to act rashly. At this moment, Master, your subordinate was useless and was unable to protect the Azure Flower Continent. The skeletal division leader half-knelt and apologized. Countless experts of the Azure Flower domain were shocked by this scene. Only a few people in the entire Azure Flower Continent knew of the relationship between Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader. In the eyes of the vast majority of the Azure Flower Continent's people, the skeletal division leader was the palace master of the #1 faction in the Azure Flower Continent, the Scarlet Moon Palace. But at this moment, the strongest expert of the Azure Flower Continent was kneeling before another person and calling him master. This person, just who, the Nan Wu sect master, was also stunned. The skeletal division leader's strength far surpassed his. But the person before him was the skeletal division leader's master, so his strength was definitely extraordinary. Perhaps he could resolve the crisis before him. I will give you 3 breaths of time. Get out of here and out of the Azure Island zone. Zhao Feng stared at the thin elder, his icy voice calm. What? Zhao Feng's words sent waves through the evil spirit holy sect. Sect master, let's join forces and kill this person. We have so many kings. Are we afraid of him? The kings of the evil spirit holy sect secretly communicated. 3, 2, Zhao Feng softly said. This scene made everyone in the Azure Flower Continent extremely excited. From Zhao Feng's appearance, he was definitely confident that he could force back the evil spirit holy sect. On the other side, the many experts of the flowing light zone stared in shock at Zhao Feng. Brat, I advise you not to become enemies with us. The thin elder said in a low voice, his expression extremely unsightly. 1. When Zhao Feng said this word, the atmosphere became eerily quiet. Kill this person. The thin elder roared. He could no longer endure Zhao Feng's arrogance and condescension. Whoosh! 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 All the kings of the evil spirit holy sect moved, unleashing their vast and mighty intents that rumbled toward Zhao Feng. All the members of the 2 zones felt their hearts leap to their throats as they stared. Dreamification. Zhao Feng sighed, his left eye circulating with dreamy mist. As a half-step godlord, he did not want to humiliate the king martial emperors of the continent zone, but if they did not take the chance he had given them, they could not blame Zhao Feng. It just so happened that Zhao Feng could use the dreamification ability he had developed some time ago on people. Bzzzzz. At this moment, everything within tens of thousands of li around Zhao Feng was dyed in a dreamy hue. In a flash, everyone who was dyed in this dreamy hue felt an unprecedented sense of danger and did not dare to make any rash movements. Whoosh! Zhao Feng stretched out a hand and lightly waved it. A gust of wind blew past, and the 5 kings charging at him were like dandelions that were blown away by the wind, disappearing without a trace. The 5 kings had vanished. One had to realize that in the entire Azure Flower Continent, the skeletal division leader was the only Void God Realm king. But with a wave of Zhao Feng's hand, the 5 kings vanished. Chapter 1450. With a wave of his hand, he had killed 5 kings. All the experts present were rooted to the spot, their minds feeling like they had been struck by lightning. They did not even know how the 5 kings had died. How is this possible? The thin elder was rooted to the spot, his entire body trembling. From start to finish, Zhao Feng had not displayed any powerful aura. Even when he had killed the 5 kings, his aura had not leaked out. He had not emitted any aura at all. He looked just like an ordinary person, yet he had instantly killed 5 kings with a casual wave of his hand. Emperor, no, sacred lord, the thin elder was somewhat speechless in his terror. He could not determine just what cultivation Zhao Feng had. Zhao Feng. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Zhao Feng. Most of the people in the Azure Flower Continent knew that Zhao Feng could resolve this crisis, but they had not expected him to do so in such a shocking manner. As for Zhao Feng himself, he was still comprehending dreamification. Wiping out a king is not that different from wiping out a table. Zhao Feng estimated in his heart. The amount of thought and origin energy required to wipe out a king was not that different from wiping out a table. Of course, this was because Zhao Feng's level was too high. In his eyes, a king was truly not even comparable to an ant. Besides that, Zhao Feng sensed that maintaining the dreamification state consumed a great deal of energy. At this moment, the thin elder knelt in midair. "Senior, spare my life. The evil spirit holy sect is willing to submit to you." The thin elder's entire body trembled. Although he was unwilling, Zhao Feng was too powerful. He did not even have a chance of escaping. He might as well compromise for now and make plans later. "Spare you? Humph." Zhao Feng glanced at the thin elder and snorted coldly. If he had not just returned, the Azure Flower Continent would have been destroyed by the evil spirit holy sect. Spare him? Was that even possible? Boom! The color of the sky changed as the wind and clouds surged. A mighty force of the heavens and earth suddenly descended. At this moment, all the living beings in the world trembled, feeling as if their lives were in someone else's hands. Bang! The scrawny old man's body was crushed under this absolute pressure. In the next moment, the world returned to normal as if nothing had happened. Hiss! The surroundings were deathly silent. Compared to the silent annihilation of the 5 monarchs, while everyone was shocked, they were even more confused about what had happened. But this time, they truly sensed Zhao Feng's strength, which seemed to be able to rule over the world. Skeletal Division Leader, why did the 3 great sects of the Tianlu Islands not help of the Azure Flower Continent? Zhao Feng suddenly asked. Back then, he had signed a blood contract with the 3 great sects. The 3 great sects were not to invade the Azure Flower Continent in the future, and if the Azure Flower Continent needed help, they would do their best to provide protection. But this time, when the Azure Flower Continent was in danger, not a single person from the 3 great sects could be seen. If the 3 great sects were willing to send reinforcements, even if he did not return, the Azure Flower Continent would not be in danger. "I'm not sure. I sent out a request for help, but no one came." The Skeletal Division Leader answered truthfully. The Azure Flower Continent was in danger, and the 3 great sects were in another archipelago region, so they had no time to send people to investigate. "Master, what do we do with these people?" The Skeletal Division Leader looked at the evil spirit holy sect members and asked Zhao Feng. "Submit to the Azure Flower Continent or be killed without mercy." Zhao Feng calmly scanned the area and said. But the moment he finished speaking, all the members of the evil spirit holy sect chose to submit without a word of complaint. But the Skeletal Division Leader had a troubled look on its face. Although all the kings of the evil spirit holy sect had died, there were still many members in the sect, each of them possessing extraordinary strength. The Scarlet Moon Hall was unable to control them, and they would become a threat sooner or later. Swish! Zhao Feng waved his hand, and the Ghost Corpse array appeared before him. A moment later, all the damage to the Ghost Corpse array was repaired. At the same time, the auras exuded by the Ghost Corpses grew stronger and stronger, causing the Skeletal Division Leader to tremble. In less than a breath's time, the auras of all the Ghost Corpses in the Ghost Corpse array were close to that of a king. "Take it." Zhao Feng handed the new Ghost Corpse array to the Skeletal Division Leader. The Skeletal Division Leader was still needed to protect the Azure Flower Continent. This upgraded Ghost Corpse array could be considered a reward for the Skeletal Division Leader. This array not only increased the Skeletal Division Leader's strength by another level, but it could also comprehend the intent that Zhao Feng had left behind within the array and increase its own cultivation. Yes. The Skeletal Division Leader excitedly accepted the Ghost Corpse array. The auras of each Ghost Corpse in the Ghost Corpse array were close to that of a king. With this array, the skeletal division leader would even be able to fight against 3 emperors. Clan Master Nan Wu's face was filled with shock. If the flowing light continent could have this ghost corpse array, it would be eternally safe. Zhao Feng then chatted with his old friend for a bit and gifted him some resources that could increase his lifespan. Swish! Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. The news of his return and the destruction of the Holy Evil Spirit sect with a wave of his hand quickly spread throughout the Azure Islands region, causing the Azure Flower domain to become a taboo existence. Even a peak faction like the Three Saints Temple placed great importance on it. On the way back, Zhao Feng released his divine sense to observe the situation. As soon as he arrived at the Tianlu Island zone, he discovered that a huge battle was going on in the Tianlu Island zone. Participants included almost all the factions in the Tianlu Island zone, including the Moon Demon Palace, the Black Cliff Palace, and the Pure Moon Spiritual Sect. No wonder the 3 sects didn't help the Azure Flower continent. They're also facing danger. Zhao Feng slowly approached and observed the battle taking place in the Tianlu Island zone. Down below, the evil Dao cultivators were fiercely fighting against the various sects of the Tianlu Island zone. Even further away, the leaders of the Pure Moon Spiritual Sect, Black Cliff Palace, and Moon Demon Palace were using their arrays to fight against the other 3. Amongst them, the Pure Moon Spiritual Sect's Saint Moon Ant Goddess had somehow managed to break through to the Void God realm. The leaders of the Black Cliff Palace and Moon Demon Palace were peak kings. But their opponents were even more terrifying. All 3 of them were emperors. Saint Moon Ant Goddess, this Heaven Guard Moon Spirit formation won't last much longer. The Devil Dao King of the Moon Demon Palace was slightly pale. If it weren't for the Heaven Guard Moon Spirit formation, they wouldn't even be able to last a moment against these 3 emperors. Damn, these people are playing with us. The Golden Skeleton was filled with grief and indignation. Given the strength of these 3 emperors, they could completely slaughter the army of the Tianlu Island zone first. At that time, the 3 of them would be at their mercy. But there was a reason why they were doing this. Saint Moon Ant Goddess, if you submit to this emperor, the Pure Moon Spiritual Sect can avoid destruction. One of the 3 emperors, a white-haired emperor, laughed heartily. Don't even think about it. The pure and dignified Saint Moon Ant Goddess blushed as she shouted. Of course, this white-haired emperor didn't just care about the Saint Moon Ant Goddess, but also the other female disciples of the Pure Moon Spiritual Sect. Let's see how long you can last. The white-haired emperor was in no hurry and continued to stall for time with the Tianlu Island zone. At this moment, I didn't think that the 3 great sects would face such a situation. A light sigh came from the distance. The white-haired emperor frowned. His spiritual sense swept behind him, and he saw a silver-haired youth. Big brother, this person is a bit strange. A round-faced middle-aged man next to the white-haired emperor said in a low voice. A heaven-shaking battle had occurred here, and they had 3 emperors on their side, but the other side seemed completely unhurried. It was truly strange. Zhao Feng. The 3 people in the formation were overjoyed and immediately cried out in surprise. Zhao Feng had been an emperor decades ago, and his current cultivation level was probably not low. If Zhao Feng helped them, they might be able to survive this crisis. Zhao Feng, help us this once. The 3 great sects will be eternally grateful. The Saint Moon Ant Goddess immediately said. It's him. The besieged Yi Yanyu and Zhuang Wan revealed complicated expressions. They hadn't expected that the 3 great sects would have to rely on this person this time. This brother, you shouldn't be someone from the Tianlu Island zone, right? If you don't interfere in this matter, the 3 of us will owe you a favor. The white-haired emperor could not see through Zhao Feng's background, but seeing that the 3 great sects viewed him with such importance, he was definitely not ordinary. In order to prevent any accidents, he took the initiative to express goodwill to Zhao Feng. Anyone would know which side was more important in the face of a favor from the three emperors. There's no need for you to say that. Back then, I also promised that if the three great sects were in danger, I would help them to the best of my ability. Zhao Feng ignored the white-haired emperor and the others. Even if the three great sects had not helped the Azure Flower continent in recent years. Compared to the white-haired emperor and the others, he had a better impression of the three great sections. After all, he had interacted with them several times. Brat, you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. The round-faced middle-aged man was enraged and prepared to attack. Since Zhao Feng had directly said that he would interfere in this matter, they would strike first. As the round-faced elder attacked, the other two emperors simultaneously launched fatal attacks at Zhao Feng. Careful, Zhao Feng! The leaders of the three great sects exclaimed. At this moment, Zhao Feng was facing three emperors at the same time. If something happened to Zhao Feng, the fate of the three great sects would not change. In the years that I've been gone, this place has really produced many geniuses. Such a great change has occurred. Zhao Feng's expression was cold as he snorted. Although Zhao Feng had also discovered that the Yuan Qi framework of the entire continent zone had become more stable, it was already not bad. But it was already not bad for the outer island zone to produce a single emperor. Rumble. Following Zhao Feng's cold snort, a supreme power that could rule over the heavens instantly condensed and descended upon the three emperors. No. The white-haired emperor's body stiffened and he prepared to beg for mercy. Bang! However, in the next moment, the three great monarchs turned into ashes under the overwhelming power. This scene stunned the leaders of the three great sects within the array formation. They had never imagined that the blood contract they had been forced to sign would allow them to avoid a calamity. Not far away, the fierce battle between the two sides had also stopped. How could this be? Three emperors are dead. Xuanwan's beautiful face was filled with shock. She had not seen how the three emperors had died, because when she looked over, the three emperors were already dead. You can deal with the rest yourselves. Zhao Feng looked at the Saint Moon Ant Goddess and the others as he calmly said. Helping the three great sects had been as easy as lifting a finger, and this was also because he had signed the blood contract that day. Swish! Zhao Feng's figure vanished before the eyes of millions. From this moment on, the Tianlu Island zone had gained another legendary figure. As for Zhao Feng, he continued on his way. His destination was the continent zone. Chapter 1451. On the way to the continent zone, Zhao Feng released his divine sense to observe the situation nearby. He found that the majority of the Tsang Ocean area was in the middle of war. If he happened to pass by, Zhao Feng might take action and deal with the wicked Dao cultivators that started the war. I wonder how the mystic true sacred clan is doing. Zhao Feng thought back to the clan that he had stayed in the past. Although he hadn't stayed in the mystic true sacred clan for a long time, and there was almost no one there that was related to him. However, the mystic true sacred clan had been Zhao Feng's refuge, allowing him to successfully escape the pursuit of the Emperor of Death. Without that period of respite, Zhao Feng wouldn't have been able to grow to the point where he could kill the Emperor of Death. As expected, the mystic true sacred clan, a three-star force of the true martial sacred land, was also facing trouble. There was a wicked Dao force near the true martial sacred land that was secretly developing and gathering troops. Although they hadn't taken action yet, they would attack the mystic true sacred clan and the Thousand Darkness sacred clan sooner or later. Zhao Feng killed the leader of this wicked Dao force and left the mystic true sacred clan. This could be considered as him repaying the mystic true sacred clan for saving his life. The wicked Dao forces that threatened the two three-star sects suddenly collapsed and turned into a pile of loose sand. It was even rumored that their sacred lord expert had been killed. The Thousand Darkness sacred clan and the mystic true sacred clan immediately teamed up to kill this force. Who did this? He was able to kill 2 sacred lords without anyone noticing. The Grand Elders of the Mystic True Sacred Clan and the Thousand Darkness Sacred Clan were extremely surprised. However, they never would have thought that the person who helped them solve this crisis was Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't care about this and quickly headed toward the continent zone. However, what he didn't expect was that the situation in the continent zone was several times worse than the Tsang Ocean area. The ocean smoke pavilion near the Nanlin Sea had turned from a paradise into a dilapidated mess. At this moment, there was no one inside. In Zhao Feng's memories, the forces near the Nanlin Sea were also extremely weak. Only some low-tier and middle-tier forces remained. Furthermore, looting and burning could be seen everywhere. What happened? Zhao Feng's face darkened. Only now did he realize that something terrible had happened in the continent zone. Songhai was located far away, so it wasn't affected much. What happened to the Hall of Gods? Zhao Feng was very puzzled. The Hall of Gods should have been fine before Kuan-Yun left, and it should have been the #1 faction in the continent zone. What had caused such a huge change in the continent zone? Is it the humanoid race? The Dark Moon Dynasty? Zhao Feng saw many humanoid figures moving about. Did the Dark Moon Dynasty suddenly increase in strength and invade the Great Qian Dynasty? Xiao. Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. Yu Province, Ji Clan of the 8 Great Clans. Kill. Leave no one alive. Within the Ji family, a purple-feathered old man led a group of people and slaughtered wantonly. This purple-feathered old man was an early-stage Holy Lord powerhouse. Most of the others were kings and a few great emperors. Retreat. Return to the Hall of Gods. Within the Ji family, an elegant and calm female with starry eyes led everyone as they fought and retreated. Apart from this elegant female who was a sacred lord, the rest of the Ji family were mostly at the Origin Core realm. There were very few Void God realm experts. The group from the Ji family was forced into desperation. So what if we return to the Hall of Gods? A black-winged male floated in the air above the Ji family. He looked down and smiled lightly. This black-winged male was a late-stage sacred lord. He didn't do anything from start to finish and just watched silently. Damn it. Ji Lan, you leave first. We'll stall these bastards with our lives. Ji Wuxia had a decisive expression. Ji Wuxia and Ji Lan were both members of the Ji family. They had entered the battlefield of the 3 provinces with Zhao Feng and helped the 9th prince fight against the non-humans. The other members of the Ji family didn't doubt death at all. We still have a chance to escape if we work together. Ji Lan immediately rejected this idea. The enemy had 2 sacred lords. A sacred lord was needed to deal with a sacred lord. Once she left, the members of the Ji family wouldn't be able to fight back at all and would be easily killed. As expected of one of the 8 big families. You have guts. The black-winged male roared with laughter in the sky. In the next instant, the divine power in his body surged, and he charged down. Not good, he's going to attack. Ji Lan's expression changed. She was only an early-stage sacred lord and could at most fight to a draw with the purple-feathered middle-aged man. If the black-winged male, who was a late-stage sacred lord, interfered, the situation would be even more dangerous. At this moment, a low roar sounded, "You dare!" The black-winged man and the other members were all extremely shocked and they heard this voice. It was shocking that someone dared to say such words to them at a time like this. However, in the next instant, broom. Thunder boomed and the clouds changed color. Heaven and earth was filled with limitless intent. Everyone nearby couldn't help but tremble. They were unable to move under this power. What kind of expert is this? The black-winged male was filled with fear as he spoke in a trembling voice. He had seen many demigod experts, but even a demigod wouldn't make him feel such pressure and danger. Only at this moment did he realize that the voice had come from a very far place. Therefore, the voice arrived first and the person arrived later. I wonder which expert just happened to pass by. The members of the Ji family revealed expressions of joy and anticipation as they looked into the distance. There was no doubt that the speaker had come to help them. When a silver-haired figure suddenly appeared in the sky, many people from the Ji clan were instantly stunned. Zhao Feng. Ji Lan's expression was dazed as she stared at Zhao Feng's face. Emotion surged in her heart. Although his aura and appearance had changed a lot, she was sure that the person in front of her was Zhao Feng. Senior Zhao. Ji Wuxia's expression changed as he immediately called out. Zhao Feng was once the strongest expert of the continent zone. The eyes of everyone from the Ji family flashed as they looked at Zhao Feng. Back then, Zhao Feng had subdued the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and killed true god Tian Fa from the ancient desolate realm of gods, shocking the great Gon Lord dynasty. Even the Dragon Emperor, who had become a true god, didn't dare to do anything to him. Because of this, he was given the title of the strongest expert of the continent zone. Zhao Feng himself had lived in the Ji family for a period of time. Ji Lan and Ji Wuxia could be considered half his disciples to a certain degree. Back when they went to the battlefield of the three provinces, they had followed Zhao Feng, and Zhao Feng had often helped them solve problems with their cultivation and bloodline techniques. At this moment, Ji Lan was an early-stage sacred lord, and Ji Wuxia was a quasi-sacred lord. Zhao Feng. The black-winged male that was about to attack suddenly remembered something, and his expression changed dramatically. Zhao Feng wasn't just a legendary figure of the Great Gon Lord dynasty, he was also a taboo figure of the Dark Moon Lord dynasty. After all, 60 years ago, Zhao Feng was the strongest expert of the continent zone. However, rumors said that Zhao Feng had gone to the ancient desolate realm of gods a long time ago. How can this be? Why would Zhao Feng appear in the continent zone? The black-winged male screamed in his heart. No one in the continent zone had ever returned after entering the ancient desolate realm of gods. The Dark Moon Lord dynasty really doesn't know what's good for them. Zhao Feng's expression was extremely cold. Below, the purple-feathered middle-aged man and company trembled, and they didn't even dare to speak. Senior, listen to my explanation. The Dark Moon Lord dynasty didn't. The black-winged male panicked and hurriedly explained. Die. Zhao Feng didn't move and pointed out with his finger. Whoosh. A murky silver light blasted out. This silver light wasn't very fast, but the silver-winged male and company found that they couldn't move at all. Boom. Ping. When the silver light descended, it created a powerful devouring power. The silver-winged male and everyone else couldn't resist at all and were torn into pieces. Whoosh! 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 The devouring point created a crack in space, and a powerful forbidden power started to blow out. This time, Zhao Feng's control wasn't very good, and the attack he used exceeded the limits of the continent zone and almost tore space apart. The members of the Ji family were extremely excited when they saw their enemy instantly die. He was indeed worthy of being the strongest expert of the continent zone. His appearance might be able to save the Great Gon Lord dynasty. Where's Senior Star Demon? Zhao Feng looked at Ji Lan, Ji Wuxia, and the others and asked. How come the Ji family only had so few people left, and the Sacred Lord only had Ji Lan? Senior Zhao, Senior Star Demon is fine. They're all in the Hall of Gods. Ji Lan calmed down a little and said. Let's go. Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief. Sacred Lord Star Demon of the Ji family had given him a lot of help. He thought that the rest of them were dead. All of this is because of a person called True God Spirit Demon. Ji Lan had a sorrowful and pained expression. True God. Zhao Feng's face froze in shock. A true god expert had appeared in the continent zone. But what was a mighty true god doing in a low-level outer zone? Zhao Feng didn't ask any more questions. Ji Lan was only an early-stage sacred lord and didn't know much. He would probably know everything once he returned to the Hall of Gods. Yu Province, Hall of Gods, the last safe place of the Great Gon Lord Dynasty. Grand Imperial Hall, Sky Suspension Palace, and the 8 great families were almost all gathered here. The top-class experts of the Great Gon Lord Dynasty were gathered in a secret hall. Are we just going to let them do whatever they want? Demigod Tai Chi of Grand Imperial Hall was enraged. After Demigod Dragon Emperor left for the ancient desolate realm of gods, Demigod Tai Chi became the leader of Grand Imperial Hall. But true God Spirit Demon is too strong. In just a few short years, the Great Gon Lord Dynasty has fallen to this level. Demigod Withered Breath of Sky Suspension Palace was rather weak. He was once the strongest demigod of Sky Suspension Palace, but he was still heavily injured and didn't have long to live. There's only 1 month left. The Great Gon Sacred Emperor, dressed in Golden Dragon Imperial robes, was extremely worried. Yes, true God Spirit Demon had given them 1 month. If they didn't submit, he would bathe the entire Great Gon Lord Dynasty in blood. Why don't we just surrender? At least we'll be able to live. Quite a few experts in the hall whispered. In the face of death, the majority of people would fear and beg for a chance to live. There's definitely a chance. A moon-robed female from the Ocean Smoke Pavilion said stubbornly. This person was the current Hall Master of the Hall of Gods, Bai Qingyue. Although she only had the cultivation of an early-stage sacred lord, she possessed absolute prestige. Most of the upper echelon members of the Hall of Gods trusted her. What chance do we have? Demigod Tai Chi had a grim expression as he growled. At this moment, a figure appeared in the center of the hall. Who is it? The eyes of all the experts in the hall flashed as their hearts thumped and they cried out in shock. Chapter 1452. Who? The eyes of all the experts in the hall flickered and their hearts thumped violently as they exclaimed in shock. Almost everyone there was a top powerhouse or a person in power in the Great Qian dynasty. At this moment, someone actually managed to sneak in without anyone noticing. The first person that appeared in everyone's mind was true God Spirit Demon, and they immediately became wary. But when they took a closer look, everyone was stunned. Welcome back, Grand Elder. Bai Qingyue of the Hall of Gods was the first to stand. As soon as the words Grand Elder were uttered, the silver-haired man's identity was self-evident. He was none other than the strongest person in the continent zone, Zhao Feng. Welcome, Grand Elder. Supreme Monarch Dark Knight immediately called out. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight was one of the most powerful people in the Hall of Gods. He was a late-stage sacred lord, and he was only a step away from becoming a sacred king. At the same time, all the members of the Hall of Gods knelt down. Among these people, there were a few that Zhao Feng recognized, but most of them were unfamiliar faces. Zhao Feng. Demigod Tai Chi's legs went soft. He did not expect that the person who had once changed the ruler of the Great Qian dynasty would appear again. That's right, because of the existence of the Hall of Gods, in the end, the master of the Great Qian dynasty changed from the Grand Imperial Hall to the Hall of Gods. However, after Nan Gongsheng and the demigod Kun Yun left, the Hall of Gods no longer had a demigod, and the Grand Imperial Hall seized power again. On the other hand, the Hall of Gods had a stable foundation. Their alliance was strong, and it covered the entire dynasty. Of the 8 great clans, 6 had joined the Hall of Gods. There was also the Sky Suspension Palace and the Sky Sword Pavilion, which had a close relationship with the Hall of Gods. Thus, the Grand Imperial Hall didn't make a move directly. They needed some time to plan and divide these factions. Then, they could directly overthrow the Hall of Gods. But true God Spirit Demon's arrival had disrupted everything. Demigod Tai Chi never would have thought that Zhao Feng would actually return from the ancient desolate realm of gods. According to what he knew, in the ancient desolate realm of gods, unless one joined a large force and paid a huge price, it was impossible to return to the outer space. If True God's spirit demon hadn't appeared, he probably would have already begun attacking the Hall of Gods. If that happened, Zhao Feng's return would be a calamity for the Supreme Imperial Hall. "Brother Zhao, it's really you." The sacred emperor of the Great Qian dynasty was extremely excited. The current sacred emperor was obviously the 9th prince from back then. The main reason why he was able to ascend to the throne was because of Zhao Feng. Unfortunately, the Great Qian dynasty had turned into such a state. "Zhao Feng, you're back." The rest of the crowd were extremely excited. Many of them didn't have much to do with Zhao Feng, and some even had grudges against him. However, it was already a matter of life and death for the Great Qian dynasty. The appearance of the strongest person in the continent region had brought them hope. "Bai Qinyue, tell me everything," Zhao Feng said calmly. "Yes, all of this is because of a person called True God Spirit Demon." Bai Qinyue told Bai Qinyue everything she knew. The Hall of Gods had a special intelligence organization that had extremely detailed information on True God Spirit Demon. 25 years ago, a person who called himself True God Spirit Demon appeared in the continent zone, but this person was not even a sacred lord at the time. From that moment on, this person began to commit evil wherever he went. Although he offended many enemies, True God Spirit Demon would always be able to kill all his pursuers. Later on, he attracted the attention of the Hall of Gods, Grand Imperial Hall, and other major factions. But the current True God Spirit Demon was already extremely powerful, and even the combined efforts of several major factions ended in failure. In a short 20-some years, that person who had not even reached the Sacred Lord level had become a true God, the strongest expert of the continent zone. Then why did he ally with the foreign races? Zhao Feng was rather confused. Not only did this person wreak havoc on the Great Qian dynasty, he also didn't spare the Dark Moon dynasty. When he became a true god, he just happened to be in the Dark Moon dynasty, and under the threat of his strength, the Dark Moon dynasty submitted. Bai Qinyue gave a detailed explanation to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng gave a soft sigh. The Yuan Qi structure of the continent zone was much more stable than it was in the past. Logically speaking, the current continent zone was even stronger than it was in Zhao Feng's time. If all the experts of the two lord dynasties worked together, they might have been able to deal with this true god. After all, true gods could not only use the maximum power below the true god level, or else they would be rejected by space. Alas, the hatred between the two lord dynasties ran too deep. This led to the fall of the Dark Moon dynasty and the imminent destruction of the Great Qian dynasty. Zhao Feng, the Great Qian dynasty will be relying on you this time. Demigod Withered Breath's eyes flashed. Since Zhao Feng had returned from the ancient desolate realm of gods, his true cultivation was definitely that of a true god. In the continent zone, one could only use strength below the true god level. However, Zhao Feng and True God Spirit Demon were the same. At the very least, Zhao Feng could stop True God Spirit Demon. "I won't ignore this." Zhao Feng's eyes were indifferent. This True God Spirit Demon had turned the Great Qian dynasty into this state, and he had even affected the Azure Flower Continent and the Tsang Ocean. How could he ignore this? These words made all the experts present sigh in relief, and a faint smile appeared on their faces. Although they still hadn't won, they had at least found a chance in their despair. "Zhao Feng, what plan do you have?" "We need to completely eradicate True God Spirit Demon or force him away. Otherwise, the continent zone will never have peace." Demigod Tai Chi asked. "That's right." The others all nodded. In this place, Zhao Feng could use the same level of strength as True God Spirit Demon. A meticulous plan was needed to kill him. "Charge over," Zhao Feng said without even thinking. He couldn't even be bothered to kill a trifling true god in the war of the ancient desolate realm of gods. "Zhao Feng, you can definitely defeat him." A black-haired man said, his eyes flashing with a sharp light. This person was none other than Yu Tianhao. He was now a saint king and had made the greatest progress among all the people Zhao Feng was acquainted with. Absolutely not. Some of the demigods present immediately stopped him. Even if Zhao Feng managed to hold down true god spirit demon, the great Qian dynasty would be heavily injured and probably wouldn't be a match for the Dark Moon dynasty. Moreover, the enemy probably didn't know that Zhao Feng had returned. They had to come up with an excellent plan that would catch the enemy off guard and eliminate true god spirit demon. Then we'll just wait here for him to come to his death. Zhao Feng thought for a moment before speaking again. In any case, he had already decided to stay in the continent zone for a while. After saying this, Zhao Feng left. Although Zhao Feng is a true god, he's still too young and too impulsive. Demigod Withered Breath sighed. Hall Master Bai, try to persuade Zhao Feng. The demigod of Sky Sword Pavilion immediately said. This matter concerned the survival of the entire dynasty, so it was no trifling matter. The Grand Elder said that we should wait here for the enemy. The Hall of Gods will wait here. Bai Qingyue's expression remained unchanged. Logically speaking, she should have listened to the advice of the others. But she trusted in Zhao Feng's decisions. The group from the Hall of Gods left. The other factions had no choice but to agree. If the Hall of Gods didn't cooperate, it was pointless for the others to discuss countermeasures. In addition, Zhao Feng's return would at least give the Great Gan dynasty the ability to resist and prevent it from being trampled upon. In the following days, Zhao Feng entered seclusion in the space-time robe. He primarily studied the dream god eye. The god eye's awakening definitely doesn't just have the dreamification ability. Zhao Feng began to think. In the end, he decided to work on illusions. Zhao Feng had always been skilled in illusions. And the dream god eye's abilities seemed to be slightly related to illusions. Forbidden Illusion Lost World. Zhao Feng recalled the illusion eye bloodline technique he had used before. I wonder what would happen if I use quintessence energy to construct an illusory Dao space. With this thought in mind, Zhao Feng began to use his origin energy. 3 days later, he used the origin energy of the dream god eye to create a mental dimension. The interior of this dimension was a simple maze, but it was of all kinds of colors, making it seem like a dream. So real. Zhao Feng's mind was in this dimension, but he himself felt like this was a real dimension. Moreover, Zhao Feng could change anything he wanted in this dimension. Even after changing the scene, it was still incredibly real, like a real dimension. I need a research subject. A research subject was even better for researching eye bloodline techniques of the god eye. Zhao Feng set his target on the nearby Black Destruction Dragon. Bzzzzz. He focused with his left eye. In a flash, the Black Destruction Dragon was startled awake. When it made contact with Zhao Feng's left eye, its soul inexplicably fell into another dimension. As for its main body, it stood rooted to the ground, motionless. This is. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon felt like it had fallen into a strange dream, but everything in this dream seemed so real. Even the aura of its master was difficult to distinguish. What's going on here? As Zhao Feng stared at the Black Destruction Dragon, he felt like both he and the dragon were in a strange dream dimension. Every scale on the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's body, even its breathing and the flow of blood, could be clearly seen. This is too real. As Zhao Feng looked at the Black Destruction Dragon, he condensed a Chaos Origin Divine Sword in his hand and casually slashed. Master? What's wrong? The Black Destruction Dragon was shocked. Ah! Caught off guard, it was struck by Zhao Feng's attack, and a wound appeared on its body. What's going on? Zhao Feng was stunned. The Black Destruction Dragon's scream was so real that he stopped his attack. Swish! His mind withdrew from the dream dimension, and the scene before him vanished. Ah! The Black Destruction Dragon's scream came from the spacetime robe. How could this be? The Black Destruction Dragon stared in a daze at the gruesome wound on its body. It was identical to the one that had been slashed in the dream dimension. Everything that had happened in the dream dimension had become real. This was too strange. What happened in the dream dimension was synchronized with reality. Zhao Feng stared in shock at the Black Destruction Dragon. Just now, the Black Destruction Dragon had only sent its mind into the dream dimension he had created. He had attacked the Black Destruction Dragon in the dream dimension, and in reality, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had suffered the same injury. Just what is this? Little Black, let's try again. Zhao Feng was extremely interested in this and smiled at the Black Destruction Dragon. No. Master, this isn't a joke. The Black Destruction Dragon grimaced. But no matter how much it refused, it was useless. Zhao Feng spent the next period of time in the spacetime robe researching this dream ability. He could pull another person's mind into the dream dimension he had created. In the dream dimension, he could heavily injure another person and synchronize everything in reality. Zhao Feng called this ability intrusive dream. On this day the entire Hall of Gods felt an oppressive pressure. They're here. Everyone in the Hall of Gods began to move out and prepare for battle. The distant world was covered in a dark mass. Gradually, a violet-haired elder appeared in front of everyone. The purple-haired old man was sitting on a huge throne made of countless white bones. He looked like a supreme king as he descended from the sky. This person was none other than true God Spirit Demon. Behind him was the vast army of the Dark Moon Dynasty. Hall Master Bai. Why hasn't Zhao Feng come out yet? Demigod Tai Chi worriedly said. He felt like Zhao Feng was treating this as a game. The other experts present also felt no sense of security. I'll give you 10 seconds to state your decision. True God Spirit Demon glanced down and nonchalantly said. 10, 9, 3. True God Spirit Demon slowly counted. All the members of the Hall of Gods gradually began to panic and fear. 1. Since you refuse to surrender, don't blame. True God Spirit Demon's face chilled. But before he could finish, a cold and resounding voice interrupted him. Have you finally come to die? Swish. In the sky, Zhao Feng suddenly appeared. Chapter 1453. You finally come to die. Zhao Feng suddenly appeared in the sky. His appearance greatly calmed the morale of the Great Gan Dynasty's forces. The only person capable of dealing with true God Spirit Demon was Zhao Feng. But in their view, these words were a little too arrogant. The two of them could use the same level of power in this place. Victory would be extremely difficult, let alone death. On the bone throne, true God Spirit Demon looked straight at Zhao Feng. He realized that he found it somewhat impossible to see through the person before him. One had to realize that true God Spirit Demon was a rank 6 true God at his peak. Although he had only just become a rank 1 true God, he still had the vision of a rank 6 true God. Zhao Feng. Several demigods on the non-human side called out Zhao Feng's name and revealed panicked expressions. But when they looked at true God Spirit Demon, they calmed down. With true God Spirit Demon here, even Zhao Feng was nothing to fear. No wonder the Great Gan Dynasty refused to surrender. It turns out that they invited a master. True God Spirit Demon sat upright and became serious. He secretly messaged the people of the Dark Moon Dynasty for information on Zhao Feng. Reporting to my lord, when you were not present, Zhao Feng was the strongest expert of the continent zone, but in the last few decades, there has been no sign of him. It's rumored that he went to the ancient desolate realm of gods 50 to 60 years ago. A demigod of the Dark Moon Dynasty told true God Spirit Demon everything he knew. Even if this person really did go to the ancient desolate realm of gods, he couldn't have accomplished much in 60 short years, much less returned to another dimension. True God Spirit Demon had an extremely deep understanding of the ancient desolate realm of gods. How could someone from another dimension grow strong enough to return to the ancient desolate realm of gods in such a short amount of time? One had to realize that true gods were extremely common in the ancient desolate realm of gods. In a war between major factions, low-ranked true gods were nothing more than cannon fodder. Because of this, he guessed that Zhao Feng hadn't gone to the ancient desolate realm of gods. He had hidden his identity in the continent zone or had been in seclusion for 60 years. If you are willing to submit to this god, I can guarantee that after you enter the ancient desolate realm of gods, you will receive better treatment than normal true gods. This is equivalent to giving you a higher starting point. Think about it carefully. True God Spirit Demon looked at Zhao Feng and proudly said. Is Zhao Feng confident in defeating True God Spirit Demon? It's hard to say. True God Spirit Demon seems like victory is already in his grasp. On the side of the great Qian dynasty, many people began to worry. From True God Spirit Demon's tone, he seemed to be an extremely formidable figure in the ancient desolate realm of gods. On the other hand, the Nether Moon dynasty's side was secretly delighted. At the very least, they were currently serving True God Spirit Demon. When the time came, they might even be able to enter the ancient desolate realm of gods through True God Spirit Demon. True God Spirit Demon seemed to be quite capable, and following him would have a bright future. Hee, you don't even have the qualifications to become my slave. Zhao Feng sneered. The person in front of him actually wanted him to submit. One had to realize that any one of his many subordinates could throw True God Spirit Demon several times over. Ignorant and arrogant. You're fated to die a horrible death. True God Spirit Demon stood up, and an oppressive and evil energy immediately began to spread through the air. All the experts of the two dynasties couldn't even raise their heads in the face of this majestic energy, and all of them trembled in fear. But Zhao Feng was completely unaffected, and he continued to stand calmly. Who sent you? Zhao Feng's eyes focused. Why would a true god expert come to an outer dimension for no reason? And what goal did he have? What's the use of someone who's about to die knowing so much? True God Spirit Demon's face chilled as he vanished from his throne of bones. A moment later, he appeared in front of Zhao Feng, a sinister and bizarre energy crushing down on him. Kaboom! Boundless cold and ghostly mist floated out of his body, taking the form of strange and savage heads. Die! True God Spirit Demon bellowed, and the ghostly mist heads around him opened their savage mouths and bit at Zhao Feng. Junior, even if you can only use the same level of strength, you're still no match for me. True God Spirit Demon heartily laughed. They could use the same level of strength, but he was a rank 6 true god at his peak, so his techniques and intent far surpassed those of ordinary people. True God Spirit Demon's powerful attack and declaration had the hearts of countless members of the Great Gon Lord Dynasty tense. This True God Spirit Demon should be a major power of the ancient desolate realm of gods. If he's so confident, Zhao Feng definitely won't be a match for him. Demigod Tai Chi began to panic. Is that so? Zhao Feng faintly smiled, and then his body vanished from the encirclement of True God Spirit Demon. A moment later, he appeared behind True God Spirit Demon. Intrusive dream. Zhao Feng's left eye began to spin, and a dreamy maze appeared within it. At this moment, his left eye exuded a dreamy luster that illuminated the entire world, instantly transforming this gloomy world into a dreamy paradise. Whoosh! A moment later, the world returned to normal. As for Zhao Feng and True God Spirit Demon, they stood motionlessly in the air. What's going on with them? Countless people from both Lord dynasties were shocked and confused. However, none of them dared to approach Zhao Feng and True God Spirit Demon. Within the dream dimension, what's going on? This place is. True God Spirit Demon felt like he had suddenly entered a dream. But everything in this dream was so real. Kid, you did this? True God Spirit Demon stared at Zhao Feng. Kaboom! Clumps of strange black mist rose from his body. There's no spatial restriction here. True God Spirit Demon suddenly realized that in this dimension, he could use the full power of a rank 1 true god. Boom! The bizarre black mist behind him tripled in size, and numerous vicious heads floated in the air, looking down at Zhao Feng. Die! True God Spirit Demon bellowed, and countless heads of black mist rumbled toward Zhao Feng. These sinister heads were about to swallow up Zhao Feng. Meanwhile, Zhao Feng stood his ground, a composed expression on his face. How stupid! Zhao Feng called out. Disappear! This intense thought emerged in Zhao Feng's mind. In the next moment, all the black fog heads in the world vanished into thin air. How? True God Spirit Demon grimaced in disbelief. In this place, no matter how strong you are, it's useless. Zhao Feng's lips curled into a smile. In this dream dimension created by the origin energy of the dream god I, he was the master and controlled everything. Bzzz. Several thick chains suddenly appeared around True God Spirit Demon, tightly binding him and preventing him from moving. At the same time, sharp swords appeared out of nowhere and stabbed at True God Spirit Demon. Swoosh swoosh. In a flash, all 103 swords stabbed into True God Spirit Demon's body. Ah! True God Spirit Demon's screams echoed through the dream dimension. Swoosh! Swish! The swords pierced through True God Spirit Demon's body. In the outside world, bloody wounds suddenly appeared on True God Spirit Demon's body, stunning the people of both Lord dynasties. In truth, Zhao Feng could have just killed True God Spirit Demon, but True God Spirit Demon had turned the continent zone into this state. If he didn't properly torture him, Zhao Feng would never be able to vent his hatred for True God Spirit Demon. Moreover, he could use him as a research subject for his intrusive dream. Ah, please let me go. No one sent me here. I've always been in the continent zone, please let me go. I'm willing to be your servant. A few moments later, True God Spirit Demon began to beg for mercy. I said before that you're not worthy. Zhao Feng's expression chilled. True God Spirit Demon's words did not convince him. Swish! He appeared at True God Spirit Demon's side, and powerful soul energy surged out as he used a soul-searching art. This soul energy. Ancient God, half-step God Lord, no, God Lord. True God Spirit Demon was scared silly. Zhao Feng's soul intent was extremely powerful. He had only seen one God Lord in his life, and the soul intent exuded by Zhao Feng was exactly the same as his. This scoundrel is speaking the truth. Zhao Feng learned everything from True God Spirit Demon's memories. It turned out that True God Spirit Demon had escaped from the imperial tombs. Coincidentally, Zhao Feng had interacted with him before. True God Spirit Demon was the mysterious expert beneath the bronze pillar in Black Wind Canyon. Back then, it was Zhao Feng's group that had accidentally created a crack in the seal, giving True God Spirit Demon a chance to escape. From a certain perspective, this was also the fault of Zhao Feng. True God Spirit Demon had stayed in the continent zone because he wanted to experience what it was like to rule over everything. Zhao Feng expressed his understanding. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, in a war between 5-star factions, ordinary true gods were cannon fodder. But in the outer domain, true god powerhouses were absolutely below 1 and above tens of thousands. Besides that, True God Spirit Demon had another goal, to obtain the key to open the imperial tombs in the hands of the Great Gon Sacred Emperor. The imperial tombs were clearly a high-level ancient dimension that contained many treasures, and there was even a city of the Heavens legacy race inside. To True God Spirit Demon, who needed resources to recover his cultivation, this was truly a great temptation. Swish! Zhao Feng's mind withdrew from this dimension, and everything around him vanished. In the outside world, all the members of the two Lord dynasties could only watch as countless wounds appeared on True God Spirit Demon's body and his screams. Whoosh! The scream stopped as True God Spirit Demon's body dropped to the ground. On the other side, Zhao Feng's eyes regained a sliver of luster. "Milord! How could this be?" Countless experts of the Dark Moon dynasty called out in alarm. They could sense that True God Spirit Demon was no longer breathing. He was dead. On the other hand, all the members of the Great Gon dynasty were frozen in place, unable to understand what had just happened. From start to finish, Zhao Feng hadn't done anything, but True God Spirit Demon screamed and died. This, how did he do it? Demigod Tai Chi was panic-stricken. He had even been wondering if Zhao Feng was a match for True God Spirit Demon. But in the end, True God Spirit Demon had only glanced at Zhao Feng before dying a miserable death. He really does have the ability. Demigod Withered Breath's face trembled in excitement. When Zhao Feng said that he would kill his way over, everyone felt that this youth was too arrogant and impulsive. In the future, the two Lord dynasties are not to invade each other. Zhao Feng called out. The humanoid race also lived in the continent zone, so he couldn't just slaughter the entire Dark Moon dynasty. Run! Run! The Dark Moon dynasty army collapsed, and everyone fled in panic. It's over. Do what you should do. Zhao Feng turned to the people of the Great Gon dynasty. The other factions began to withdraw from the Hall of Gods. But Zhao Feng called out to the Sacred Emperor. Brother Zhao is interested in the Imperial Tombs. The Sacred Emperor took out a gray-white stone plate. This was the key to opening the Imperial Tombs. Chapter 1454. Can we open the Imperial Tombs now? Zhao Feng immediately asked. Why does Brother Zhao want to go to the Imperial Tombs? Moreover, the Imperial Tombs strongly reject Sacred Lord experts, so there's no need to talk about Brother Zhao's current level. The Sacred Emperor voiced his doubts. True God Spirit Demon escaped from the Imperial Tombs. Zhao Feng bluntly replied. He wanted to enter the Imperial Tombs precisely to see if there were any other hidden dangers. After leaving the continent zone, Zhao Feng didn't know when he would be able to come back again. Perhaps there wouldn't be a next time. He only hoped that his homeland would be peaceful and peaceful. What? The Sacred Emperor grimaced. He had no idea about this at all. You open the Imperial Tombs, and I'll go in and try. If I fail, then forget about it. Zhao Feng said after thinking for a few moments. The dimension of the Imperial Tombs was incomplete and abnormally weak. If an expert were to enter, they would definitely deal a destructive blow to the dimension, and they would also be torn to shreds by the spatial cracks. But Zhao Feng wanted to try. Okay. The Sacred Emperor agreed. The Sacred Emperor followed Zhao Feng to the forbidden ground of the Hall of Gods. Buzz. Bzzz. A dark silver light shot out of the center of the stone plate, and powerful spatial ripples began to spread. Gradually, the dark silver light formed a twisted screen of light. Brother Zhao, be careful. The Sacred Emperor warned. No matter how strong Zhao Feng was, if he tried to force his way in, he would suffer a spatial backlash and die without a doubt. But what the Sacred Emperor didn't know was that not even spatial cracks could harm Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng nodded and approached the teleportation channel. He wasn't worried about a spatial backlash, but he was worried about accidentally destroying the Imperial Tombs. Perhaps the God Eye's abilities can allow me to safely enter. Zhao Feng muttered to himself. In the continent zone, he could use the God Eye's abilities without affecting the dimension of the continent. Thus, the God Eye's abilities could probably be used in the Imperial Tombs as well. Bzzz. Within the God Eye dimension, the dreamy silver ball began to exude large amounts of origin energy. Gradually, Zhao Feng's body was surrounded by a faint layer of dreamy light. The entire hall was illuminated by this layer of dreamy light, making it bright and beautiful. Then, Zhao Feng slowly approached the spatial tunnel. Whoosh! Zhao Feng entered and disappeared. He really went in, and there was nothing strange. The sage emperor was slightly shaken. Whoosh! Zhao Feng appeared in an ancient forest. The suppression of the ancient aura around him had no effect on Zhao Feng at all. Instead, Zhao Feng felt a sense of familiarity. With a sweep of his divine sense, Zhao Feng roughly grasped the situation of the royal tombs. Other than true god spirit demon, who had escaped from Black Wind Valley, Zhao Feng had discovered another hidden danger. Thus, he took action to eliminate this potential danger. After doing all this, Zhao Feng started to wander around the imperial tombs. Back then, he had helped the ninth prince fight against the other princes here. It was also here that he killed the Emperor of Death and took his Eye of Death. There was fighting here, but there were also many opportunities. Why don't I also leave behind a legacy here? Zhao Feng's interest was aroused. The imperial tombs had countless legacies of various sizes. If Zhao Feng left behind a legacy, it would definitely be of a higher level than all the other legacies here, but obtaining it would also be extremely difficult. But Zhao Feng discovered that he had no low-level resources. Finally, he left behind Holy Lord to true divinity level cultivation methods and battle skills as well as a profound ancient source energy. Let's go take a look at the Heaven's Legacy City. Zhao Feng went to the center of the imperial tombs, the Heaven's Legacy City. After strolling around the Heaven's Legacy City, Zhao Feng quickly left. As expected. This low-level Heaven's Legacy City doesn't have anything I need. Zhao Feng had expected this long ago. He was now a half-step god lord. How could a low-level Heaven's Legacy race city like this have anything that a half-step god lord needed? For example, the 10,000 Blood Palace could strengthen and transplant ancient bloodlines. But the quality of these bloodlines was extremely low, with the highest being a true god bloodline. Bloodlines not only had rankings, but also levels. For example, when Zhao Feng obtained a drop of blood from demigod Kuan Yun in the demigod Forgotten Garden, it had been a priceless treasure. This was because that drop of blood had reached the level of a demigod, and Zhao Feng's cultivation had been too low. If a true god bloodline were to fuse with Zhao Feng's half-step god lord divine body, it would probably be devoured by Zhao Feng's bloodline. Even if it was fused, it would be useless. The god eye has awakened. This is my strongest bloodline. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, the 8 great god eyes were mythical bloodlines on par with the top 10 ancient races. And Zhao Feng speculated that not even the top 10 experts of the same level would be a match for him. After strolling around, Zhao Feng left the imperial tombs and returned to the Hall of Gods. Although the Hall of Gods has a stable foundation, it has no experts. Zhao Feng was extremely familiar with the Hall of Gods situation. If it wasn't for the fact that the Hall of Gods had formed an alliance with the various factions of the Great Gon Lord dynasty before he left, the Hall of Gods would probably have been destroyed by its enemies the moment Kuan Yun and Nan Gongxing left. If there are no demigods, then I'll create demigods. Zhao Feng spread out his divine sense throughout the Hall of Gods. Carefully sensing, he discovered a few cultivators with excellent foundations. If you are willing to swear loyalty to the Hall of Gods, I will give you a chance to become a demigod. Zhao Feng's voice resounded in their minds. Grand Elder. Those who heard these words were either frightened or excited. No one would refuse Zhao Feng's offer. In the end, the 8 members arrived at Zhao Feng's residence. Of these 8, 4 were sacred lords and 4 were void god realms. Zhao Feng's current plan was to do his best to raise these 4 sacred lords into demigods. Void god realm experts, with just a little help, had the potential to become demigods in the future. In addition, Zhao Feng also found Supreme Emperor Dark Knight. Supreme Emperor Dark Knight was already a sacred king and had decent potential. Although he was creating demigods, Zhao Feng did not spoil things through excessive enthusiasm. He had these people enter the space-time robe dimension. At this time, the space-time robe's flow of time was 100 to 1. This meant that 100 days in the space-time robe was only 1 day in the outside world. While creating demigods, Zhao Feng was also in seclusion. Level 9 Space Intent. The next step is the space law. Zhao Feng's mind was as clear as a mirror. Once he comprehended a law, he could attempt to become a god lord. But a law was not so easy to comprehend. He had been in seclusion in the space-time robe for 30 years, but his space intent had only made small progress. On the other hand, his demigod plan was mostly successful. In the following days, Zhao Feng left the Hall of Gods and began to roam the continent zone. When he was in a good mood, he would find a random place and enter seclusion. While roaming the continent zone, Zhao Feng would also search for a few familiar faces. For example, the Cold Moon King of the Pirate Sacred Land, whom Zhao Feng had met. In the fight against the Emperor of Death, the Cold Moon King and the other experts of the Pirate Sacred Land had risked their lives to help him. After exchanging a few words and giving some gifts, Zhao Feng bid farewell to the Cold Moon King and continued to roam the continent. In this period of time, Zhao Feng went to the birthplace of Zhao Feng and the Duanmu family. He spent some time with Duanmu Qing, occasionally talking about Zhao Yufei of the ancient desolate realm of gods. Zhao Feng also went to the Tai family, the Ji family, the Yu family, the Imperial Palace, Sky Suspension Palace, Sky Sword Pavilion, and other places. This sort of roaming was a kind of experience, a way to temper and improve one's mind. When Zhao Feng returned to the Hall of Gods, he realized that there was room for improvement in many aspects. He remained in seclusion in the Hall of Gods, cultivating while creating demigods. Currently, Zhao Feng's focus was still on the dream god Ai, and his other intents were secondary. This time, while cultivating his intents, Zhao Feng realized that his space intent seemed to be showing signs of advancing. Thus, Zhao Feng began to focus on his studies. 10 years passed in the spacetime robe. Buzz. Bzzz. The space around Zhao Feng was twisted and chaotic, seemingly ready to shatter at any moment. Suddenly, the spatial distortion spread out in all directions. The Black Destruction Dragon immediately took everyone else in the spacetime robe into its origin dimension of destruction. Hisses. A ripple of twisted space swept over the Black Destruction Dragon's body. In a flash, one of the scales on the Black Destruction Dragon's body inexplicably shattered. Master is comprehending a law here. It's too dangerous. The Black Destruction Dragon was alarmed and worried. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the distorted space around Zhao Feng, and a forbidden spatial storm began to blow out. The entire spacetime robe dimension began to sway. This spatial crack gradually spread, shattering everything in its path. At the same time, this spatial crack continued to extend toward Zhao Feng. If this continues, the spacetime robe might be damaged, and Master will also be affected. The Black Destruction Dragon became even more worried. The spatial crack was about to reach Zhao Feng's body. Suddenly, Zhao Feng opened his eyes, and invisible spatial energy began to exude from his body. Zhao Feng thrust out a palm. Hisses. The spatial energy around him gradually began to gather in Zhao Feng's palm. At this moment, Zhao Feng grasped a spatial destruction energy in his hand. Master, you succeeded. The Black Destruction Dragon was stunned. Only someone who had comprehended a space law could play around with this spatial energy. Correct. Zhao Feng's lips curled into a smile. At this moment, the energy in his hand was generated by a space law. This spatial energy could probably tear apart the divine body of a half-step god lord. Whoosh! Zhao Feng waved his hand, and this spatial energy gradually vanished. At the same time, a powerful spatial energy permeated the spacetime robe dimension. A few moments later, the somewhat damaged dimension became extremely stable. I've gained an initial understanding of the space law. I can become a God Lord at any time. Even so, the chances of success were hard to say. In addition, he couldn't try to become a God Lord in the continent zone. Even if he did it in the spacetime robe, the entire continent zone would be destroyed by Zhao Feng. Thus, at this moment, Zhao Feng only needed to comprehend the space law. Once he returned to the ancient desolate realm of gods, he could become a God Lord. Chapter 1455. The continent zone returned to normal. News of Zhao Feng's exploits began to spread, and even children knew of Zhao Feng's name. He was not only the strongest expert of the continent zone, but also its savior. The pseudo-4-star Grand Imperial Hall gradually relinquished control of the Great Gan dynasty to the Hall of Gods. With Zhao Feng's existence, the Hall of Gods became the sacred ground of the Great Gan dynasty and even the entire continent zone. Every day, countless factions would come to pay a visit, and countless top-class experts would come to see Zhao Feng. Within the spacetime robe, Zhao Feng was focused on cultivating, paying no attention to anything. After finally comprehending a sliver of a space law, Zhao Feng grasped it and began to deepen his comprehension. After spending 6 years in the spacetime robe, Zhao Feng ended his seclusion. At this moment, his understanding of the time law had deepened. In addition, now that he had comprehended a law, Zhao Feng's other intents also had a lot of room to improve. Thus, he continued to cultivate, raising his time intent to level 9 and his other intents to level 8. Even without using the power of the God I can now defeat a first heaven God Lord. Zhao Feng was rather happy. After comprehending a law, his other intents had also received significant boosts. His Chaos Origin divine power had gotten even stronger, and not even a top-class First Heaven God Lord could compare to Zhao Feng in divine power. After spending so much time in seclusion, Zhao Feng went to the other side of the spacetime robe. There were 9 people here, either sitting cross-legged on the ground or cultivating combat skills. They were the people that Zhao Feng had chosen for his demigod plan. Among them, Supreme Lord Dark Knight was already a demigod. The other 3 were sacred kings, still needing some time to stabilize before they could become demigods. The other 4 emperors had already become sacred lords. Although these people were rapidly advancing in cultivation, they were also extremely strong among their peers. This was because the resources they used had all been carefully selected by Zhao Feng in Heaven's Legacy City. In addition, they could ask the Black Destruction Dragon or Zhao Feng's clone for guidance. The demigod plan is about to succeed. It's time for me to leave. Zhao Feng left the spacetime robe and looked down at the vast world. But how do I get back to the ancient desolate realm of gods? At this time, Zhao Feng suddenly thought of this problem. He had only taken a nap and returned to the continent zone. How was he going to return? Although people from other dimensions could enter the ancient desolate realm of gods, they only had one chance. Once they completely merged into the ancient desolate realm of gods, they would become part of the ancient desolate realm of gods. Returning to the ancient desolate realm of gods would require special methods. Some of the major powers would have to pay a huge price to open up the passageway when they sent people into the outer realms. When he wanted to return, he just needed the forces of the ancient desolate realm of gods to open the path again. However, Zhao Feng had arrived at the continent zone in a daze, so he had no way of contacting the spiritual race in the ancient desolate realm of gods. In other words, this most common method would not work. If he wanted to return to the ancient desolate realm of gods, Zhao Feng could only rely on himself. Now that I've comprehended a space law, I might be able to open a path myself. Zhao Feng suddenly had this idea. But after trying it several times, he realized that this method was very unsafe. The continent zone could not support this energy. If the path was broken midway, Zhao Feng would suffer a backlash from the space energy. Secondly, the spatial path was too far away, and Zhao Feng had no experience in this field, so it was very easy for problems to occur. Do I have to just fly to the ancient desolate realm of gods? Zhao Feng was rather bewildered. He didn't know how far it was or how long it would take. Moreover, he had heard that there was a primal chaos turbulence between the ancient desolate realm of gods and the outer realms. It was extremely dangerous, and even a god lord would have an extremely high chance of dying if they recklessly entered it. In conclusion, there were only two methods. Either he could create his own path or he could fly over. However, both methods had their own risks that were hard to determine. If only I could go back after taking a nap. Zhao Feng sighed. Suddenly, his eyes flashed. Perhaps it really was possible. Previously, when Zhao Feng returned to the continent zone, he had just taken a nap. At the time, the god eye was still in the middle of its transformation. Thus, Zhao Feng speculated that his return was closely related to the dream god eye. Or perhaps the dream god eye had some sort of ability that allowed him to return to the continent zone. With this thought, Zhao Feng abandoned the first two methods and began to search for a third method. But in researching this ability, Zhao Feng could only think of two crucial points, sleep and dreaming. Although this was rather unreliable, Zhao Feng could only start from these 2 points. He returned to the spacetime robe dimension, sat down cross-legged, and began to sleep. Cultivators could easily sleep and maintain a state of fake sleep. A fake sleep state meant that while sleeping, one could maintain some degree of consciousness and be wary of their surroundings to prevent danger. Zhao Feng quickly fell asleep. Noticing nothing strange, Zhao Feng immediately began to circulate his origin energy. A series of disjointed and dreamy images began to appear in Zhao Feng's mind. These images were all thoughts that were flashing through Zhao Feng's mind. When Zhao Feng thought of the Azure Flower Continent, a certain place in the Azure Flower Continent would appear before him. When he thought of the spiritual race, scenes of the spiritual race would appear. These scenes were like a dream dimension, incomparably real. This meant that as long as he fell asleep, he could easily create all kinds of dream dimensions. At this time, Zhao Feng could even use intrusive dream to pull others into his dreams. If he killed an enemy in the dream dimension, they would die in the real world. But now was not the time to study intrusive dream, but the method to return to the ancient desolate realm of gods. I remember that when I had a dream, I dreamed that I returned to the Sky Qin sacred palace in the continent zone, and then I went there. Zhao Feng seemed to have grasped the crux of the matter, the intense thoughts in his mind. In this aspect it was very similar to realization and dreamification. It used the power of one's mind. Azure Flower Continent, Broken Moon Clan. As a precaution, Zhao Feng first experimented with other places in the continent zone. Zhao Feng thought back to the Broken Moon Clan, its buildings, and its scenery. Gradually, a dreamy Broken Moon Clan appeared in the dream dimension. It was as if it was real. Zhao Feng suddenly had an intense desire to go to the Broken Moon Clan. Swish! Within the spacetime robe, the cross-legged Zhao Feng vanished. Whoosh! Suddenly, Zhao Feng's head swelled with pain, and he was jolted awake from his dream. In a flash, Zhao Feng was frozen to the spot, not knowing what to do. The scene before him was clearly that of the Broken Moon Clan. I really came to the Broken Moon Clan. Zhao Feng's mouth fell open in a daze. He had only wanted to give it a try, but he hadn't expected to succeed. He had only slept for a moment, and then he had returned to the Broken Moon Clan. This sort of ability was simply absurd and incomprehensible. What's going on? At the gate of the Broken Moon Clan, several disciples noticed that there was something strange about the roiling clouds. Bzzz. Zhao Feng vanished into the void. If all of this is real, then I can safely return to the ancient desolate realm of gods. Overjoyed, Zhao Feng swiftly left the Broken Moon Clan. He went to a deserted area and began to sleep. This ability was so powerful that Zhao Feng found it hard to believe. He needed to try a few more times. On his second attempt, Zhao Feng consumed some origin energy, but he did not succeed. On his fifth attempt, he successfully returned to the Hall of Gods. Only now did Zhao Feng dare to confirm that this ability was real. He named it thought teleportation. He could reach any place he wanted. However, this ability was unstable. In the following days, Zhao Feng continued to study thought teleportation. In his experiments, he even deviated from his destination. He was clearly thinking about the Broken Moon clan, but the place he ended up at was still very far from the Broken Moon clan. But as he continued to experiment, he gradually grasped the feeling, and his success rate increased. 8 out of 10 times, he would reach his destination. In addition, if the terrain of the place Zhao Feng wanted to go had changed, teleportation would fail. For example, Zhao Feng wanted to go to the Great Ghan Imperial Palace, but after the war, the palace had been rebuilt and the terrain had changed. In this situation, thought teleportation would definitely fail. 3 years later, the 4 sacred lords in the spacetime robe had all become demigods. Adding on Supreme Emperor Dark Knight, there were now 5 demigods. With this, the demigod plan came to an end. When the 5 demigods of the Hall of Gods appeared, the entire continent zone was stunned. In just a few short years, the Hall of Gods had produced 5 demigods. There was no need to think about it to know that this was related to Zhao Feng. The appearance of 5 demigods made the Hall of Gods the #1 faction of the continent zone in every aspect. I'll leave these things to you. Zhao Feng took out an interspatial dimension and gave it to Bai Qingyue. These were some sacred lord to demigod resources that he had exchanged for in the divine legacy city of the imperial tombs. Bai Qingyue's abilities had long ago obtained Zhao Feng's acknowledgement. He was confident that even if he didn't give any orders, Bai Qingyue would be able to handle these resources very well. Master, are you leaving? Bai Qingyue understood Zhao Feng a little, so she could guess what was going on. If you can enter the ancient desolate realm of gods in the future, you can come find me. Zhao Feng nodded. At the same time, he told Bai Qingyue and the 5 demigods that if they entered the ancient desolate realm of gods, they should go to 2 places, the Gulong Zone and the Xiling Zone. When people from other dimensions entered the ancient desolate realm of gods, they usually stayed on the outskirts, where they had a higher chance of reaching the Gulong Zone. He could ask the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race to take care of the people from the continent zone. If they happened to not be near the Gulong Zone, they could go to the Xiling Zone. After doing all this, Zhao Feng silently left the Hall of Gods. Zhao Feng lay in the air and started to sleep in an uninhabited place. I can definitely do it. Zhao Feng was slightly nervous. After all, he had always used thought teleportation to travel between the continent zone and the ancient desolate realm of gods. The ancient desolate realm of gods was extremely far from the continent zone, so he wasn't sure if he could succeed. The Xiling Zone is in the center of the continent zone. Let's first target the Gulong Zone at the edge of the ancient desolate realm of gods. Zhao Feng slowly fell asleep. A dreamy light flashed in his mind as images started to form. Considering that the geography of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race might change, Zhao Feng set his target as the Exchange Spiritual Hall. Blue Ocean Bay, Exchange Spiritual Hall. This thought appeared in his mind. Zhao Feng's body suddenly disappeared like a bubble. Chapter 1456. Ancient Desolate Realm of Gods, Blue Ocean Bay, Sky Feather Island. Buzz. The sky above the Exchange Spiritual Hall suddenly surged with a dreamy color. Then, a figure appeared from within. We're here. Zhao Feng opened his eyes, a look of surprise on his face. Before using teleportation, he was still a little worried that an accident might happen. Exchange Spiritual Hall. Zhao Feng looked down at the Exchange Spiritual Hall. When he first came to the ancient desolate realm of gods, he was on Sky Feather Island. Later on, he represented the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race in participating in the competition for the Exchange Spiritual Hall and won. It was precisely because of this that he had offended the Sky Feather Island Lord's faction. I wonder how the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race and the Green Jade Sheep race are doing. Zhao Feng thought to himself as he prepared to leave. When he first came to the ancient desolate realm of gods, he was alone and didn't know anything. It was Yulin, of the Green Jade Sheep race, who took him along. The Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race was his first home in the ancient desolate realm of gods. However, Zhao Feng suddenly discovered something unusual. The guards of the Exchange Spiritual Hall are from the Shark Tooth race. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. The Shark Tooth race was also a powerful race on Sky Feather Island. When he left Sky Feather Island, he killed the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf Patriarch, and the Exchange Spiritual Hall returned to the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. However, most of the guards of the Exchange Spiritual Hall were from the Shark Tooth race. With a sweep of his divine sense, Zhao Feng discovered that the expert overseeing this Exchange Spiritual Hall was also a member of the Shark Tooth clan. I wonder who you are, and what do you need from me? Within the Exchange Spiritual Hall, the true god of the Shark Tooth race was stunned. Just now, he was suddenly swept by a divine sense. At that moment, he felt that all of his secrets had been discovered by the other party. With his experience as a true god, the owner of this consciousness was definitely a powerful true god. Whoosh! In the secret chamber, Zhao Feng's figure suddenly appeared. The Shark Tooth Elder took a deep breath and looked at Zhao Feng. His expression froze for a moment, and a thoughtful look appeared on his face. Suddenly, the old man's expression changed drastically, and he jumped up with a terrified expression. Zhao Feng. Back then, the Sky Feather Island Lord had invited all the factions on the island to surround and kill Zhao Feng. The Shark Tooth clan was one of them, and he was one of the true gods who had tried to kill Zhao Feng. However, he had been lucky enough to survive. However, Zhao Feng's strength was deeply engraved in his heart. Moreover, Zhao Feng had ignored the array formation and teleported directly to his room. This terrifying divine ability caused the true gods of the Shark Tooth race to tremble in fear. Senior Zhao, spare me, the true god of the Shark Tooth race kneeled to the ground with a thud. This Exchange Spiritual Hall belongs to the Shark Tooth clan. Zhao Feng said calmly. It wasn't a big deal if the owner of the Exchange Spiritual Hall changed hands, but the competition for the Exchange Spiritual Hall was held once every 1,000 years. In other words, the Shark Tooth clan had obtained the Exchange Spiritual Hall through other means. We worked together to deal with the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race and force them to hand over the Exchange Spiritual Hall. The Shark Tooth race elder trembled, and after hesitating for a moment, he clenched his teeth and spoke. Even if he didn't say anything, Zhao Feng could easily find out everything. Senior Zhao, our Shark Tooth race didn't want to do this. This was the will of the higher-ups. The Shark Tooth race elder immediately began to explain and plead. The higher-ups? Above Sky Feather Island was Blue Ocean Bay, and the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay was the Golden Jade race. Zhao Feng couldn't help but think back to the situation when he left the Gulong Zone. Back then, he had turned the entire Gulong Zone upside down, and countless factions were searching for him. It wasn't hard to find out that Zhao Feng had left Sky Feather Island. The Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, which was related to him, had definitely been interrogated by the Golden Jade race. Even if Zhao Feng wasn't related to the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, Zhao Feng's matter had been exposed, and he had become a wanted criminal of the Gulong Zone. Thus, the invisible protection he had given the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race naturally vanished. Because of this, the other races of Sky Feather Island boldly joined forces to deal with the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. First, the major factions forced the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race to hand over the Exchange Spiritual Hall. After the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race patriarch was killed by Zhao Feng, the Shark Tooth race became the strongest faction in the area and smoothly took control of the Exchange Spiritual Hall. Die! Zhao Feng coldly snorted as he sent out a surge of soul intent. If it really was the will of the higher-ups, the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race would have ceased to exist long ago. This also meant that all of this was just the selfishness of the other races. Thump! The Shark Tooth race elder's soul was obliterated, and his body fell to the ground. Swish! After killing the Shark Tooth race expert, Zhao Feng used Spatial Blink to leave the Exchange Spiritual Hall. Four factions of Sky Feather Island were gathered outside the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. True God Skyfire, we came from so far away, but you didn't even come out to welcome us. Isn't that a little too rude? A chubby middle-aged man from the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race chuckled. Although the patriarch of the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race had been killed, the race had a deep foundation and wouldn't fall so quickly. Huh, are you not welcoming us? A true god expert from the Emerald Green Feather race stepped forward. Swish! In a flash of fiery light, a white-haired elder appeared in the sky. Next to the elder were several other figures, the 5 elders of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. The other members of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race charged forward. My race has already handed over the Exchange Spiritual Hall. What else do you want? True God Skyfire, the patriarch of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, had an extremely grim expression. Several decades ago, the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had no choice but to hand over the Exchange Spiritual Hall when the 6 nearby factions came to pressure them. True God Skyfire, you gave the Exchange Spiritual Hall to the Shark Tooth race, but did the other factions get anything? The chubby middle-aged man from the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race had a cunning look in his eyes. What do you want? True God Skyfire's face was ashen. Hee, why don't you take out the low-quality god crystal mine under your feet? The true god of the Emerald Green Feather race wickedly chuckled. If you agree, we won't disturb you in the future and will live in peace. Another true god expert said. Don't even think about it. What do you take the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race for? True God Skyfire immediately rebuked. In the last few decades, the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had rapidly grown stronger and undergone enormous changes. All of this was because of the low-quality god crystal mine under their feet. Giving up the Exchange Spiritual Hall is our greatest concession. Don't even think about anything else. The first elder also stepped forward. At this moment, the first elder had broken through to become a true god. It was precisely because of this that the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had some confidence. Are you trying to incite conflict between the various factions and start a war? The chubby middle-aged man's eyes narrowed into slits, but they exuded a cold light. You! True God Skyfire was enraged, but there was nothing he could do. Even if this matter got out of hand and reached the Golden Jade race, the Golden Jade race wouldn't help the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race because of the matter with Zhao Feng. If True God Skyfire doesn't mind, we will personally mine the ore. The chubby middle-aged man led the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race behind him into the territory of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. The eyes of True God Skyfire and the 5 elders blazed with flames, but they didn't move. Within the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race group, damn, if Big Brother Zhao Feng was here, they definitely wouldn't dare to do this. A young youth from the Green Jade Sheep race said hatefully. This youth was none other than young Master Lu Yun of the Green Jade Sheep race. Don't speak nonsense. Yulin, of the Green Jade Sheep race said in a low tone. She only had a rough idea of what was going on with Zhao Feng, but Lu Yun didn't know anything. Although she hoped to see Zhao Feng again, she didn't want Zhao Feng to come back and die. Huh, you're talking about Zhao Feng? He's a wanted criminal of the Gulong Zone right now. He still dares to come back. The chubby middle-aged man laughed. But he barely finished speaking when a cold voice came from behind him. Are you talking about me? Who's there? The chubby middle-aged man felt his hair stand on end and retreated. Just who was it that had appeared behind him without him noticing? He had actually not sensed it at all. After the chubby middle-aged man retreated, Zhao Feng's figure appeared in front of everyone. Although the color of his hair had changed, those familiar with him could still recognize him at a glance. Zhao Feng. Real God Tianhua was shocked and he cried out involuntarily. Big brother Zhao Feng. Lu Yun immediately cheered. It really is him, why did he come back? Yulin's expression froze, and then panic appeared on her face. Zhao Feng was a wanted criminal of many major factions of the Gulong zone. Zhao Feng, you actually dared to come back. The chubby middle-aged man's eyes bulged in shock. In terms of strength, none of them were a match for Zhao Feng. Why wouldn't I dare? Zhao Feng looked at the chubby middle-aged man and directly asked. Senior Zhao, we'll leave now. We'll keep the news of your return a secret. The emerald green feather race patriarch had a warm smile on his face. He believed that Zhao Feng had definitely sneaked back and did not dare to be too ostentatious. Okay, then keep it a secret from me. Zhao Feng coldly laughed as he looked at the two. In a flash, a powerful soul intent surged forward. Broom! In terms of souls, the two true gods felt like they were in a lightning tribulation hell. Endless lightning crashed down and instantly obliterated their souls. Quite a few members nearby were injured by the shockwaves of this soul intent and had their souls destroyed. Thump! In a flash, two true gods and half of the members below the true god realm dropped to the ground, their auras completely gone. But in the eyes of outsiders, Zhao Feng had only glanced at them. One glance had instantly killed a whole group. I didn't control it well enough. In truth, Zhao Feng had only planned to kill the two true gods, but these people were far too weak. Zhao Feng was already doing his best to control the God Lord intent, but even a tiny bit of it was enough to obliterate them. I didn't control it well enough. One of the true God experts trembled in fear. If he didn't control it well enough, a single glance had instantly killed half of the group. If he didn't control it well enough, everyone present wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between Zhao Feng's teeth. This. Senior, spare us. In a flash, everyone present knelt on the ground. On the other hand, the blazing fire golden sheep race was dumbfounded, unable to calm down. True God Sky Fire, you can deal with these people as you please. Zhao Feng looked at the blazing fire golden sheep race patriarch. It was because of him that the blazing fire golden sheep race was being targeted by the other races. He didn't know how much the blazing fire golden sheep race had suffered in this period of time, so he gave the blazing fire golden sheep race the right to deal with them. Yes. The blazing fire golden sheep race patriarch immediately stepped forward in shock. At this moment, the situation had reversed. The three factions that had come with such ferocious momentum were now kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Chapter 1457. At this moment, the situation was reversed. The three major forces that had come in a menacing and overbearing manner were now kneeling on the ground, trembling and begging for mercy. Unforgivable. Real God Tianhua swept his furious gaze across the crowd and spat out 4 words. The blazing fire golden sheep race had been isolated near Sky Feather Island. The other forces had been slowly eating away at the blazing fire golden sheep race over the past few years. One day, the blazing fire golden sheep race would be destroyed. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, strength was everything. At this moment, they were only forced by Zhao Feng to kneel and beg for mercy. Once Zhao Feng left or was captured, true God Sky Fire was sure that these people would continue to attack the blazing fire golden sheep race. For the survival of the force, real God Tianhua would not be lenient. Moreover, these people knew that Zhao Feng had returned, so they must all be killed. Kill! The entire blazing fire golden sheep race surged forward with killing intent. No, run! Faced with such a situation, the remaining members of the three major forces fled in panic. Whoosh! Whoosh! Real God Skyfire and the Great Elder were the first to rush to the front and seal off the enemy's path of retreat. Kill! The entire Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race furiously attacked. They had endured the humiliation of the other forces for far too long, and at this moment, all of it erupted. Ever since the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race took control of the Exchange Spiritual Hall and obtained the low-grade God Crystal Mine, their overall strength had increased drastically. They were now ranked in the top 5 of the forces near Sky Feather Island. In less than a moment, the number of enemies decreased sharply. Run! Staying here would only lead to death. The remaining people fled with all their might. Some managed to escape, but they were still chased down by the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. Brother Zhao Feng, you're finally back. Lu Yun of the Green Jade Sheep race arrived before Zhao Feng with admiration in his eyes. Back then, he had been extremely respectful towards Zhao Feng. Now that he had returned, Zhao Feng's strength had surpassed everyone's imagination. Zhao Feng, leave this place quickly. Real God Tianhua immediately went forward with an anxious expression. Although the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had killed all of these people, someone had definitely spread the news. In actual fact, Real God Tianhua was puzzled as to why Zhao Feng didn't take action immediately to kill everyone. In that case, these people wouldn't even have the chance to send a message. With Zhao Feng's abilities, Real God Tianhua would not doubt that he could kill everyone within 1 or 2 breaths. There's no rush. I'll stay here for a while. After saying that, Zhao Feng walked toward the interior of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. What? Real God Tianhua was stunned. Zhao Feng was a wanted criminal by many of the Gulong region's major factions. Yet, at this moment, he actually didn't hurry to leave. In addition, the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had been interrogated by the Golden Jade race before. The Golden Jade race had only let the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race off after discovering that they weren't related to Zhao Feng. But if Zhao Feng stayed here, the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race would be dragged in as well. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Zhao Feng seemed to know Real God Tianhua's worries and spoke again. Of course, other than True God Tianhua and a few elders who were worried, the rest of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had no idea and were overjoyed. Zhao Feng's goal in staying here was very simple. He wanted to help the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race create a few more true gods. In this way, the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race's status in Sky Feather Island would be unshakable. What? Help us break into the true god realm? The second elder and the others were stunned. This was especially true for the second elder. When Zhao Feng first came to the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, the two of them had quite a bit of conflict. Now that Zhao Feng said that he would help him break into the true god realm, he really did find it a little hard to believe. But they had no idea that helping a demigod break through was an extremely easy task for a half-step god lord like Zhao Feng. In less than 3 days, the 4 elders, with Zhao Feng's help, all broke into the true god realm. But this wasn't enough. The Sky Feather Island Lord was a rank 4 true god, and his faction also had rank 3 true gods. This was how he was able to peacefully rule over Sky Feather Island. In the following days, Zhao Feng helped the 5 elders improve their talent and potential. This way, their martial path would be even smoother. The patriarch was nearing the end of his lifespan and didn't have much potential, making it very difficult for him to improve himself. Thus, Zhao Feng gave him a precious resource that could increase his lifespan. On the 10th day, Zhao Feng felt that it was about time, so he left behind some resources and prepared to leave. But at this moment, broom! Many powerful auras appeared around the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. Not good. The Shark Tooth race, the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race, the Flowing Snake race. The Grand Elder scanned with his divine sense and grimaced. At this moment, almost all the races of Sky Feather Island had gathered, and there were more than 20 true gods. This enormous faction was enough to instantly exterminate the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. But they also knew that these factions had come because of Zhao Feng. Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, you dare to harbor Zhao Feng. It looks to me like you're planning to follow Zhao Feng and defect to this place. Angry voices came from all directions. The rise of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race was not something they wanted to see. This time, he might be able to use this opportunity to directly eradicate him. Zhao Feng. True God Skyfire and the elders looked at Zhao Feng. What would Zhao Feng do in this situation? However, Zhao Feng remained motionless. He sat in his original spot with an indifferent expression, as if he hadn't seen anything at all. To the surprise of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, although they were surrounded by many factions, none of them dared to act recklessly. They even seemed to be intentionally keeping a certain distance from the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, as if they were wary of something. At this moment, bzzz. Boom. Boom. A golden light appeared in the distant horizon, and a rumbling sound could be heard. Not good. This bloodline phenomenon must be from the Golden Jade race. True God Skyfire's face instantly paled. The Golden Jade race was a 4.5-star faction and the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay. Within its territory, it had 10-some territories similar to Sky Feather Island. Respectful greetings to the Golden Jade race. All the members of the surrounding factions immediately got down on one knee to welcome the 4.5-star Golden Jade race. Whoosh! The experts of the Golden Jade race descended in a flash. The bodies of the 15 figures flickered with a noble golden jade glow, incomparably dazzling. The enormous aura they exuded made all the 4-star factions of Sky Feather Island not dare to breathe too loudly. Those below the true god level found it rather difficult to breathe. They're all true god experts, and the weakest is a rank 4 true god. True god Skyfire trembled, cold sweat pouring down his back. The weakest of these 15 experts was a rank 4 true god. The dignified elder in the middle was someone that no one dared to look directly at. This person is Zhao Feng. Of the 3 5-star factions of the Gulong Zone, 2 of them have offered astronomical rewards. Quite a few true gods in the Golden Jade race were extremely excited. Once they captured Zhao Feng, the astronomical reward would raise the entire Golden Jade race to a whole new level. They knew quite a bit about Zhao Feng. They had heard that not even an ordinary rank 4 true god was a match for Zhao Feng in Stellar Tower's 5-star mountain. After so many years, Zhao Feng had definitely become a true god, and his strength could not be underestimated. Thus, all the upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race had been mobilized this time, including their patriarch, ancient god Light Jade. Zhao Feng, you walked out of Blue Ocean Bay's Sky Feather Island, but your actions have shamed us. Today, the Golden Jade race will personally capture you. Ancient god Light Jade righteously declared. Celestial Gold Array. Ancient god Light Jade immediately bellowed. The 14 true gods around him immediately began to move. The Golden Jade race has even used the Celestial Gold Array. The nearby Sky Feather Island factions were all stunned. Just how strong had Zhao Feng become that an ancient god of the Golden Jade race would personally take action and even use the Celestial Gold Array? A few moments later, a complicated offensive array had taken shape. 14 golden jade swords floated above the heads of the 14 true gods, exuding an intimidating aura. In a corner of the array, this brat truly doesn't know his place. An elder dressed in a jade robe coldly laughed. He was none other than the leader of the Golden Jade race team in the wild ancient secret dimension, true god Tianhua. Back in the secret dimension, Zhao Feng had the help of a rank 5 true god, the phoenix-tailed bird, and he had suffered greatly. Kill! Ancient god Light Jade gave the order, and he and the 14 true gods attacked Zhao Feng at the same time. In a flash, an earth-shattering pressure pressed down on Zhao Feng. Swish. Zhao Feng blinked out of the blazing fire golden sheep race. Humph, you're only using this kind of toy to embarrass yourself. At this moment, Zhao Feng finally spoke. Kaboom. These simple words stirred up massive waves in the world, creating a powerful shockwave that surged toward the Golden Jade Race team. Boom. Bang. Crash. The celestial gold array collapsed, and the 14 true gods were forced back, vomiting blood. 2 of the weaker members were even jolted to death by this energy. This is impossible. True God Tianhua's face was ghastly pale as he blurted out in shock. Back when he clashed with Zhao Feng, his opponent had only been a quasi-god. But now, a single word from Zhao Feng was enough to heavily injure all the upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race. Thump. Thump. Ancient God Light Jade was forced to take several steps back before he stopped and stared in shock at Zhao Feng. With a single sentence, he had shattered the celestial gold array and injured an ancient god. You still want to capture me? Zhao Feng stared at Ancient God Light Jade. At this moment, Ancient God Light Jade felt like 100,000 mountains were pressing down on his head. The divine power and blood in his body were almost frozen, and he couldn't move. No. Ancient God Light Jade barely managed to squeeze out this word. He should have long ago understood that Zhao Feng was no ordinary individual, given that he had offended so many factions of the Gulong Zone. It was laughable that he believed that the Golden Jade race could capture Zhao Feng. With his strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to destroy the entire Golden Jade race. Compared to the Golden Jade race, the surrounding factions of Sky Feather Island were even more stunned, and their minds buzzed. In their eyes, an ancient god expert was already unreachable and powerful. But at this moment, all the upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race, including the ancient god expert, couldn't even take a single blow from Zhao Feng. No, this junior had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Senior Zhao, please spare the Golden Jade race. The Golden Jade race patriarch and ancient god Light Jade immediately kneeled on the ground. At this moment, all the nearby factions were kneeling in the air. Zhao Feng was simply too powerful. Not even the ancient god of the Golden Jade race could do anything to him. Once he began a massacre, everyone would die. All the members of the Blazing Fire Golden Sheep race stared in shock at this sight. They had originally been worried about Zhao Feng's life. But now, all the factions of Sky Feather Island, including the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay, were kneeling and begging for mercy. Chapter 1458. At this moment, all the factions of Sky Feather Island, including the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay, the Golden Jade race, were kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I beg Senior Zhao to spare the Golden Jade race. Ancient God Light Jade, who was many years older than Zhao Feng, actually called Zhao Feng Senior. You want me to spare the Golden Jade race? Then tell me first, besides the Golden Jade race, who else knows that I've returned? Zhao Feng questioned. The people of Yellow Dragon Pavilion were in my race at the time and happened to know. Ancient God Light Jade hesitated for a few moments before summoning up his courage. After saying this, Ancient God Light Jade trembled and looked in fear at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and fell into deep thought. He had originally thought that if only the Golden Jade race knew about this, he would just have to seal the Golden Jade race's mouth. He hadn't expected that the 4.5-star faction next to the Golden Jade race, Yellow Dragon Pavilion, would also know of this matter. In short, the more people that knew, the more troublesome it would be. Then I'll go to the Golden Jade race as a guest. Zhao Feng opened his eyes and walked toward Ancient God Light Jade. From the looks of it, there was no way to hide the fact that he had returned. Since that was the case, he would deal with it head-on. Ancient God Light Jade was stunned. Just what did Zhao Feng mean by this? Okay. I'll lead the way for Senior. Ancient god Light Jade immediately stood up and walked in front of Zhao Feng. The other true gods of the Golden Jade race followed behind, not even daring to breathe too loudly. Once Zhao Feng and the Golden Jade race members left, the other factions breathed sighs of relief. Fortunately, Zhao Feng was not a vengeful and bloodthirsty person, or else they would all have died without a grave. Patriarch, will Zhao Feng be fine? The second elder couldn't help but ask. He had a grudge with Zhao Feng in the past, but Zhao Feng had forgiven him and helped him break through, improving his aptitude. It could be said that Zhao Feng had turned his life around. This made him feel rather guilty and worried. I'm not sure either. The patriarch slightly shook his head. He knew a little about what Zhao Feng had done. It was rumored that Zhao Feng had imprisoned many geniuses from major forces, including a 5-star force. 4-star factions were under the jurisdiction of 4.5-star factions, and in the eyes of peak 4-star factions, a 4.5-star faction could not withstand a single blow. Meanwhile, 5-star forces were undoubtedly the overlords of a region, second only to God's domain's holy land. Less than 10 days later, Zhao Feng and ancient god Light Jade arrived at the Golden Jade race. Isn't that person the Zhao Feng wanted by many forces in the Gulong zone? It's really him. I didn't expect him to dare come back. Many disciples of the Golden Jade race were astonished. Humph, Zhao Feng, you still fell into the hands of the Golden Jade race in the end. A handsome young man in the crowd was overjoyed. He was none other than quasi-god Di Lin, the one who had suffered greatly at the hands of Zhao Feng in the wild ancient secret dimension. Later on, he had true god Tianhua deal with Zhao Feng, but he still returned in defeat. As a quasi-god prodigy of the Golden Jade race, he had never been so humiliated before, so he bore a deep grudge against Zhao Feng. Upon returning to the inner hall of the Golden Jade race, ancient god Light Jade arranged a separate palace for Zhao Feng. The upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race immediately left. Patriarch, what should we do? True god Tianhua immediately stepped forward, his face seething with resentment. Humph, notify the origin returning sect. Ancient god Light Jade growled. Zhao Feng had brought such humiliation to the Golden Jade race. Only by killing Zhao Feng could he vent his hatred. The origin returning sect was the strongest peak 4-star faction in the region. Quasi-god Guei, who had participated in the Gulong martial gathering, came from this sect. Quasi-god Guei was the strongest quasi-god prodigy of the origin returning sect, but he had been imprisoned by Zhao Feng. At the time, the origin returning sect was even crazier than Violet Night Hall, mobilizing almost all its manpower to search for Zhao Feng. Heh, this brat is arrogant and ignorant. Just wait for your death. True god Tianhua gave a sinister laugh. Although they couldn't capture Zhao Feng, there were still many benefits to informing the origin returning sect of this news. After taking up residence in the Golden Jade race, Zhao Feng couldn't be bothered with anything else. He entered the spacetime robe and began to cultivate. Right now, he needed to make plans for breaking into the God Lord level and increase his chances of success as much as possible. Comprehending the space law means that I can cultivate the final level of the Chaos Heaven Void Origin technique. The contents of the final level of this art appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. The 6th level of this art was meant for the God Lord level. By studying it a little earlier, he could consolidate his divine power and increase his chances of breaking into the God Lord level. But in the end, the 6th level was meant for God Lords. Zhao Feng had only begun to cultivate it, but he already felt that it was very difficult to make any progress. One day, Zhao Feng left his residence. With a sweep of his divine sense, he was able to see the entire situation of the Golden Jade race. The person talking to ancient god Light Jade was someone from Yellow Dragon Pavilion? Zhao Feng's eyes froze. Moreover, he felt that this person from Yellow Dragon Pavilion was rather familiar. It was apparently true god Zhongtu, who had pursued him and Han Ning, her. Back then, Zhao Feng was only a quasi-god. When facing true God Zhongtu, he could only run. Yellow Dragon Pavilion's people have come to the Golden Jade race again. Confused, Zhao Feng concealed himself and went to the secret hall where the two were talking. Ancient God Light Jade, if the Golden Jade race is willing to help Yellow Dragon Pavilion, I will increase the benefits I offered last time by another 10%. True God Zhongtu very seriously said. Forget it. The Golden Jade race doesn't want to participate in this matter. Ancient God Light Jade thought for a moment, but in the end, he still refused. With Zhao Feng here, the Golden Jade race really couldn't afford to send too many people. Once the Origin returning sect arrived and captured Zhao Feng, the benefits would be many times higher than what Yellow Dragon Pavilion could offer. Ancient God Light Jade, there's no need to be so ruthless. 20%, another 20%. This is Yellow Dragon Pavilion's limit. True God Zhongtu frowned and called out. This is a special time. Otherwise, I would have agreed to lend you soldiers the second time you came. Ancient God Light Jade tactfully refused. Borrow soldiers? Zhao Feng's expression froze. Borrowing troops was most likely because the Yellow Dragon Pavilion was at war. But Yellow Dragon Pavilion had captured Spirit Grass Gate, so it should have gotten even stronger. Normal factions wouldn't recklessly provoke it. So what was it that made Yellow Dragon Pavilion feel threatened or defeated and seek assistance from other factions? Could Han Ning have returned for revenge? Zhao Feng thought of this possibility. Han Ning was an Eye of Life descendant, so she probably had an important status among the disciples of the Life's Sacred Land. There was a high chance that she had brought some people back to the Gulong Zone to revive Spirit Grass Gate. Who is it? The worried True God Zhongtu suddenly realized that a figure had appeared nearby and immediately jumped up from his seat. Zhao Feng. Ancient God Light Jade was also stunned. How had Zhao Feng appeared here without anyone noticing? It's you. True God Zhongtu suddenly remembered, and he was both shocked and enraged. If not for Zhao Feng, he would have killed Han Ning long ago. But True God Zhongtu did not act recklessly. Zhao Feng had been able to appear here without anyone noticing. This meant that his opponent's strength far exceeded what he could deal with. True God Zhongtu immediately sent a message. Yellow Dragon Pavilion is borrowing soldiers. What's going on? Zhao Feng immediately asked. Yellow Dragon Pavilion has gotten much stronger and is preparing to attack the other 4.5-star factions. True God Zhongtu hesitated for a few moments, seemingly rather fearful of Zhao Feng. But Zhao Feng noticed that when True God Zhongtu said this, Ancient God Light Jade's expression shifted. It was obvious that this was not the truth. Since you're not willing to speak the truth, I'll find the answer myself. Zhao Feng's expression chilled. The moment he finished speaking, a soul intent charged out. What are you doing? True God Zhongtu grimaced as he prepared to resist. But at this moment, he suddenly realized that he couldn't move. It was like he was in a pool of lightning, his soul bound by endless lightning and severed from his divine body. He could do nothing. Then, a tremendous soul will surged into his soul and saw through everything. As expected. Zhao Feng's eyes chilled. Yellow Dragon Pavilion was borrowing soldiers to deal with Spirit Grass Gate. Boom! With a thought, True God Zhongtu's soul and divine body were obliterated. On the side, Ancient God Light Jade was alarmed. In front of Zhao Feng, True God Zhongtu couldn't even self-detonate. Yellow Dragon Pavilion. Zhao Feng muttered a few words, and then his body vanished. But not long after Zhao Feng left, an oppressive energy descended upon the Golden Jade race. Whoosh! Ancient God Light Jade immediately charged out and looked at the three figures in the distant sky. Ancient God Light Jade, where are they? The leader of the three was a violet-robed elder, shrouded in multicolored divine light. Ancient God Qian Yuan, Zhao Feng just left for Yellow Dragon Pavilion. With your strength, he probably won't even be able to reach Yellow Dragon Pavilion before falling into your hands. Ancient God Light Jade had a smile on his face, but he was inwardly stunned. This ancient god Qian Yuan was none other than the sect master of the Origin Returning Sect, a half-step god lord expert. The two people next to him were both peak rank 9 ancient gods. He had never imagined that the Origin Returning Sect master would personally take action, and he had even brought 2 peak rank 9 ancient gods with him. Let's go. Ancient god Qian Yuan called out as he led the other 2 away. Back then, ancient god Night Dragon of Violet Night Hall had died in the Xiling Zone. This matter was only known to the 5-star factions and a few top-class factions. It was precisely because the Origin Returning Sect knew of this that the sect master personally took action to ensure that nothing could go wrong. At the same time, in the forbidden ground of the Gulong Zone, in the extremely dangerous Wretched Ghost Valley, beneath Wretched Ghost Valley was an enormous faction that few people knew about. Buzz. Bzzz. Several spatial ripples suddenly appeared in the previously empty palace. Swish. 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 Black-clothed figures appeared in the hall, each of them exuding the powerful energy of an ancient god. Lord Tyrant Dragon, Zhao Feng has appeared in the Golden Jade race. A peak rank 9 ancient god suddenly said. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked. Whoosh! At this moment, a calamitous energy that could destroy all suddenly descended upon the hall. The hall instantly fell silent as everyone stared at the man covered in pitch-black dragon scales. Zhao Feng, you've finally appeared. The black-scaled figure spoke in a hoarse and excited voice. I will personally deal with this person. All of you, withdraw. The black-scaled man called out. Yes. Then, all the figures in the hall disappeared. Ninth God, allow me to personally offer you to that lord. Kakik. Chapter 1459. In the past half a year, a rather sensational event had occurred in the Gulong region's West Ridge. Spirit Grass Gate, which had been defeated by Yellow Dragon Pavilion decades ago, made a comeback and rebuilt itself. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion sensed this immediately and sent out a large number of members. The two sides started a great battle of 4.5-star forces. In the end, Spirit Grass Gate managed to block Yellow Dragon Pavilion's first wave of attacks. Afterwards, the former members of 100 Grass Gate gradually returned. Many factions even betrayed Yellow Dragon Pavilion and pledged allegiance to 100 Grass Gate. In the underground meeting hall of Spirit Grass Gate. Han Ning, I really didn't misjudge you. It's all thanks to you that Spirit Grass Gate could be rebuilt. A green-haired old man sitting high above had a gratified smile on his face. This person was the sect master of 100 Grass Gate. After 100 Grass Gate was defeated, he led a portion of his members into hiding, planning to rise again. The other upper echelons of Spirit Grass Gate also smiled and nodded, their gazes focused on a green-robed woman. The woman was particularly eye-catching in the dim hall. She exuded a pure vitality, looking like a fairy in the forest, intelligent and beautiful. Sect Master, this is what I should do. However, I still have to thank Senior Brother Xiaoho for this matter. Han Ning'er had a faint smile on her face. She looked to her side at Xiaohu, who was dressed in a simple green robe and had a strong stature. Back in the spiritual race, when Zhao Feng had just become a true god, he had fought with the life-sacred land's Xiaohu. Later on, when Zhao Feng sent Han Ning to the life-sacred land, Xiaohu was responsible for receiving them. After all this time, Xiaohu had smoothly broken into rank 7. Many thanks to the life-sacred land for being willing to help Spirit Grass Gate. The 100 Herbs sect master looked at the man beside Han Ning'er with an excited expression. For an Eye of Life descendant to appear in the sect was truly a great fortune. To be able to form a relationship with the legendary Holy Land was something that he had never dared to hope for in his entire life. Just a small matter. Xia Hou waved his hand, indicating that he did not take it to heart. In truth, this was his own wish and had nothing to do with the life-sacred land. Otherwise, Yellow Dragon Pavilion would have surrendered long ago. They wouldn't have dared to continue fighting against Spirit Grass Gate. Young Master Xiahou is too humble. If not for you, we would not have been able to contend against Yellow Dragon Pavilion. The 100 Herbs Gate Master smiled. The 100 Grass Gate's leader had been heavily injured in the battle between the two great powers and had yet to fully recover. Xiahou Wu was a rank 7 ancient god, an Eye of Life descendant, and a disciple of the life-sacred land. It was because of this that Spirit Grass Gate was able to contend against Yellow Dragon Pavilion. At this moment, Xiahou Wu was the hope of the entire Spirit Grass Gate, the idol of countless disciples. The higher-ups of the 100 Grass Gate hoped that Han Ning'er and Xiahou Wu would be together. This way, the safety of the 100 Grass Gate would be guaranteed. At that moment, a ripple appeared on the barrier of the conference hall. Whoosh! A green shadow darted in. Reporting to Sect Master, the Yellow Dragon Pavilion is attacking again. The scout knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Prepare for battle." The 100 Herbs Gate Master's expression changed as he immediately shouted. The next moment, the entire meeting hall became empty. All the members of Spirit Grass Gate quickly gathered. Not long after, two majestic dragon boats rode over from the distant horizon. At the top of one of the dragon boats, the tall Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master with dark yellow skin had a stern expression on his face. "Sir Xiahou, this is a grudge between Yellow Dragon Pavilion and Spirit Grass Gate. I hope that you will not interfere." The master of the Yellow Dragon Pavilion first looked at Xiahou Wu. Xiahou Wu was a member of the life-sacred land. If not for the fact that the life-sacred land was too far away, Yellow Dragon Pavilion would have never dared to attack. On the other hand, he could also tell that Xiahou Wu had come to help Spirit Grass Gate purely out of his own will and had nothing to do with the life-sacred land. "I have already promised junior sister Ning'er that I will take care of this matter till the end." Xiahou Wu's face was filled with determination. Seeing Xiahou Wu like this, the upper echelons of Spirit Grass Gate all revealed looks of joy. In their view, Xiahou Wu was definitely interested in Han Ning'er. Yellow Dragon Pavilion, Spirit Grass Gate will definitely take revenge for the past. The 100 Herbs Gate Master looked at the Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master with a cold glint in her eyes. Although he was heavily injured, Xiahou Wu was currently treating him. It wouldn't be long before he would be completely healed. Spirit Grass Gate would rise again. I'm afraid you won't have the chance." The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master burst into laughter. This scene made the higher-ups of Spirit Grass Gate feel strange. Logically speaking, Yellow Dragon Pavilion didn't have the strength to do anything to Spirit Grass Gate. But the Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master was so confident. Had Yellow Dragon Pavilion received some powerful reinforcements? At this moment, a dreadful ghost Dao energy surged out from the distant horizon. Boom boom boom. Countless pitch-black and cold figures began to float over. Nether Ghost Race. The Spirit Grass Gate Master's face chilled. The Nether Ghost Race was one of the stronger 4.5-star factions. It had 6 ancient gods, far more than an ordinary 4.5-star faction. And now, 3 rank 7 ancient gods had arrived. The upper echelon members of Spirit Grass Gate and Xiahou Wu also turned gloomy at this sight. Xiahou Wu was powerful, but he could only deal with 2 rank 7 ancient gods at most. But now that the enemy had 3 ancient gods, they already had the advantage of crushing Spirit Grass Gate. "Young Master Xiahou, I advise you to leave. Although we won't kill you, when the time comes to fight, we won't have so many misgivings and will inevitably injure you." The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master once more looked at Xiahou Wu. At this moment, the entire battlefield was eerily silent. The members of Spirit Grass Gate felt a deep despair. Whether Xiahou Wu helped Spirit Grass Gate or not, they were no match for Yellow Dragon Pavilion. Xiahou Wu also had an extremely nasty expression. It seemed like he couldn't keep his promise to Han Ning. But at this moment, an indifferent voice came from the distance. Han Ning, you really did come back. And brother Xiahou, I didn't think that you would also come. This voice was very casual and broke the solemn and silent atmosphere. Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost race all turned to look. The eyes of the members of Spirit Grass Gate also flashed. This person who had suddenly arrived seemed to be a friend of Han Ning, and Xiahou Wu. But when they saw Zhao Feng, they instantly paled in shock. Zhao Feng. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master and the upper echelon members blurted out. The members of Spirit Grass Gate were also flabbergasted. Wasn't this the Zhao Feng who had thrown the Gulong Zone into an uproar several decades ago? Zhao Feng was wanted by many major factions, but he still dared to come back. Zhao Feng, what did you do to my grandson, quasi-god Mo Gui? An ancient god of the Nether Ghost race turned cold, killing intent surging in his eyes. Quasi-god Mo Gui was the quasi-god who had clashed with Zhao Feng before the Gulong martial gathering. Later on, he was imprisoned in the Five Elements Palace. Brother Zhao, why are you here? Xiahou Wu was also extremely surprised. The life-sacred land had a rather good understanding of what had happened in the Chixing Zone. It was rumored that Zhao Feng was the owner of the ninth God Eye. After his God Eye awakened, he defeated Ancient Soul Hall and vanished. Han Ning, was extremely excited to see Zhao Feng. Ever since they parted, she had not seen Zhao Feng again. When she heard that Zhao Feng possessed the ninth God Eye, she had been worried that Zhao Feng had encountered some mishap. At the same time, Zhao Feng's appearance gave the two of them a glimmer of hope. In the Xiling Zone and Chixing Zone, Zhao Feng had even defeated God Lords. On the other side, Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost race had extremely gloomy expressions. Zhao Feng's strength had been extremely extraordinary back then, and he had turned the Gulong Zone upside down. Now, even Xiahou Wu referred to Zhao Feng as Brother Zhao. From this, one could see that Zhao Feng's strength had increased significantly. Don't act rashly for now. Inform the factions above of Zhao Feng's return. Someone will naturally come to deal with him. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master was rather composed and secretly communicated with the Nether Ghost race. Brother Zhao, please take action and resolve this matter. Xiahou Wu said with a smile. The Spirit Grass Gate side was instantly dazed. The life-sacred lands Xiahou Wu had actually asked Zhao Feng to take action. And from Xiahou Wu's expression, he didn't seem the slightest bit worried. It was like Zhao Feng could resolve everything. Han Ning, was also beaming as if she had forgotten about the war. Wait a moment. Zhao Feng flatly said. Wait a moment. Xiahou Wu was rather confused. Why wait a moment? On the other side, Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost race had extremely nasty expressions on their faces as they watched Zhao Feng's group chat and laugh. Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master, let's attack together and kill Zhao Feng first. I don't believe that he can defeat us. The Nether Ghost race ancient gods had dreadful and savage expressions. But at this moment, a heaven-shaking ripple of energy came from the distant horizon. Swish! 3 silhouettes appeared in the middle of the two groups of people. Their powerful auras shook the surroundings. Origin Returning Sect, Ancient God Qian Yuan. The ancient gods of the Nether Ghost race and Yellow Dragon Pavilion blurted out in shock. They had sent the news of Zhao Feng's return to several factions, including the Origin Returning Sect, but the Origin Returning Sect shouldn't have come so quickly. Moreover, the ones who had come were the half-step God Lord Origin Returning Sect Master and 2 peak rank 9 elders. They finally realized that Zhao Feng was even stronger than they had imagined. Zhao Feng, hand over quasi-god Gui and obediently allow yourself to be captured. Ancient god Qian Yuan paid no attention to the 3-4.5-star factions, his eyes focused on Zhao Feng as he calmly spoke. You've finally arrived. Let's deal with them together. Zhao Feng smiled as he looked at the 3 members of the origin returning sect. Xiahou Wu and Han Ning instantly understood what Zhao Feng meant when he said, wait. It was just a half-step god lord, so they weren't the slightest bit worried. In contrast, Spirit Grass Gate was trembling in fear and couldn't help but retreat. The origin returning sect had clearly come to make trouble for Zhao Feng. Oh. How do you want to resolve this? The origin returning sect master was taken aback. From Zhao Feng's tone, it seemed like he knew that they were coming. I naturally hope to resolve this peacefully. Zhao Feng calmly said. He had imprisoned the geniuses of many factions, but these people had all wanted to kill him and steal his treasures, so Zhao Feng had not done anything wrong. Moreover, he had placed these members in the ancient dream realm, so he naturally couldn't let them out so that they wouldn't expose his secret. Laughable. How could you compare to quasi-god Guiyi? Since you won't compromise, don't blame the origin returning sect. Ancient god Qian Yuan was slightly angered. In truth, a peaceful resolution was also possible, but the benefits on Zhao Feng's body were far too great. He had the spacetime robe, the staff of death curse, and the 5 elements in Tent Palace. If he killed Zhao Feng, he could obtain all of this. This brat deserves it. The Nether Ghost race members wickedly chuckled. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion members were also extremely happy. With the origin returning sect master personally taking action, Zhao Feng's death was assured, and Spirit Grass Gate might even be implicated. Chapter 1460. The origin returning sect didn't even listen to Zhao Feng's proposal for a peaceful solution and immediately refused. Xiahou Wu and Han Ning couldn't help but sigh in worry for the origin returning sect. In the Xiling zone, Zhao Feng had defeated a god lord, and it was rumored that he had even killed a god lord in the Chixing zone. Since you refuse to negotiate, I won't be polite. Zhao Feng's eyes focused. He had no intention of stirring up trouble, but there were some people who believed themselves infallible and were far too greedy. The 3 members of the origin returning sect were dumbfounded by these words. Junior, I don't know whether to call you courageous or stupid. Ancient god Qian Yuan and the others all began to laugh. 60-some years ago, when Zhao Feng fled the Gulong zone, he was just a quasi-god. Even if he had powerful treasures and his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, he was still a rank 7 ancient god at most. Still as arrogant as ever. The upper echelon members of the Nether Ghost race smiled even more sinisterly. The members of Spirit Grass Gate looked at Zhao Feng like he was a monster. How did he dare to say such big words to the origin returning sect master? Since you're not willing to negotiate, then we can only use strength to speak. Zhao Feng's expression chilled as he suddenly took a step forward. The origin returning sect members had just calmed down when they suddenly found this situation extremely funny and prepared to retort. But when Zhao Feng took this step, the world rumbled. Kaboom! The world dimmed and winds howled as all the Yuan Qi in the area gathered toward Zhao Feng. A tremendous pressure of the heavens and earth pressed forward. This pressure made the 2 peak rank 9s of the origin returning sect feel a little heavy, and the origin returning sect master was quite surprised. Before they could say anything, thump. Zhao Feng took another step forward, and the worldly energy doubled in strength. At this moment, the 2 peak rank 9s felt their bodies sink, their expressions rather unsightly. The origin returning clan master's eyes widened as he stared at Zhao Feng in shock. In the rear, the Nether Ghost race and Yellow Dragon Pavilion armies felt like they were being pressed down by 100,000 mountains. All of them found it difficult to even breathe. In less than a moment, thousands of people spat out blood and retreated explosively. Retreat! The Yellow Dragon Pavilion master and the ancient god of the Nether Ghost race roared. This sudden change caused their minds to be at a loss. However, with the arrival of danger, they instinctively knew to escape. "Tell me, how do you want to settle this?" Zhao Feng suddenly spoke and took another step forward. Although he was a half-step godlord, he had already comprehended a law, and his chaos origin divine power was something that few godlords of the first heaven could compare to. Rumble. At this moment, the power of heaven and earth condensed to the point that it was almost tangible, like a ferocious primordial beast charging forward. Puff. Puff. The two peak rank 9 experts of the Gue Yuan sect spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. As for the Gue Yuan sovereign, he could not help but take half a step back. He froze on the spot and his entire body started to tremble. Behind Zhao Feng, everyone from Spirit Grass Gate watched this scene in a daze. In 3 steps, he had forced back 2 elite ancient gods and a half-step godlord of the origin returning sect. In the eyes of the Spirit Grass Gate Master, a half-step godlord could already be considered a supreme expert. Killing one was as easy as stepping on an ant. But such an expert was forced back by Zhao Feng's invisible pressure. This. Senior Zhao, for a moment, the Gue Yuan sect master didn't know what to say. He had thought that the worst-case scenario was that Zhao Feng might have some trump card that would allow him to temporarily resist them. He had never imagined that the final result would be like this. At this moment, he didn't even have the courage to attack. "Didn't you want to capture me?" Zhao Feng took the 4th step and began to circulate his many intents. Broom! An enormous and boundless energy condensed between the heavens and the earth, crushing down with the force of a landslide. The Gue Yuan sect master seemed to suffer a heavy blow. His body trembled, his face ghastly pale, and a trickle of blood trickled down the corner of his lips. Bang! The 2 peak rank 9 experts were sent flying, leaving bloody trails in the air. "Senior Zhao, the fault in this matter was on us. The Gue Yuan sect is willing to make any compensation." At this moment, the Gue Yuan sect master finally thought of an excuse and said in a low voice. He didn't dare to doubt that Zhao Feng would really kill them. As long as they could live, they would get back what they lost. But if they died, they would have nothing. Scram! "Don't let me see you again in the future." Zhao Feng bellowed. They were just a peak rank 4 force. What was there for him to be interested in? His main goal this time was to use the Gue Yuan sect to intimidate the other forces. Yes, yes. The 3 people from the Gue Yuan sect scrambled and fled quickly. Zhao Feng was simply too strong. Before he even made a move, he had already forced them to vomit blood. If they really fought, it would be easy to kill them. On the other side, the people from the Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost Tribe were nowhere to be seen. Behind them, the people from the 100 Grass sect were dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. Previously, everyone thought that there would be a bloody battle. The arrival of the Nether Ghost Tribe made them feel even more hopeless. But in the end, the 100 Grass sect won without a fight. The enemy army, including the experts from the Gue Yuan sect, were so scared that they fled. "So strong," Han Ning said in a daze. Although she had also been stunned by Zhao Feng's strength when she was with Zhao Feng, the shock that Zhao Feng had given her seemed endless. "Zhao Senior, many thanks for resolving the crisis of 100 Grass sect." 100 Grass sect master immediately went forward to express her thanks. This time, the crisis of 100 Grass sect had been resolved by Zhao Feng. "When will you return to the Xiling zone?" Zhao Feng looked at Xiahou Wu and Han Ning. "We still have to stay for a while," Xiahou Wu said without hesitation. First of all, 100 Grass sect had just been rebuilt, so Han Ning would not leave so quickly. Second of all, the injuries on 100 Grass sect master's body still needed some time to heal. Since this was the case, Zhao Feng temporarily stayed at 100 Grass sect. Although he had intimidated 100 Grass sect, there should still be some factions that were dissatisfied and would come to negotiate. When the time came, it would not be too late to leave after settling these matters. This was to avoid them coming to find the blazing fire golden sheep race and 100 grass sect after he left. In truth, Zhao Feng had only imprisoned a few true gods of these factions, not to the extent of making them fight to the death. The main reason was that these people were too greedy and wanted to obtain the treasures in Zhao Feng's hands. Zhao Feng naturally could not waste his time in 100 grass sect. After entering the spacetime robe, he entered seclusion and began to strengthen his foundation. One day in the outside world was 100 days in the spacetime robe. 500 days passed in the spacetime robe, and no other faction came to find him. Zhao Feng sensed that he had reached a bottleneck in every aspect and would find it very difficult to make any progress. All of you, go out and keep watch for me. Zhao Feng moved the Black Destruction Dragon, Zhao Wang, and Zhao Kong out of the spacetime robe dimension. The Black Destruction Dragon had just reached the half-step God Lord level, and with its bloodline, it could stand above the crowd and challenge ordinary God Lords. As for his two clones, they were both peak rank 9. With the three of them keeping watch, Zhao Feng felt more at ease. Afterward, Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm and focused his mind to break into the God Lord level. The most difficult aspect of breaking into the God Lord level was compressing the 9 divine stages into a God altar. In the process of forming the God altar, the divine stages would disappear layer by layer. If the condensation failed, the divine stages would not recover and would truly vanish. For this reason, many experts who tried to break into the God Lord level would experience a drop in cultivation if they failed. If they failed at the final juncture, their 9 divine stages would be destroyed and they would fall below the true God level. To a half-step God Lord, this was a devastating blow, even more painful than death. But Zhao Feng was rather confident. Firstly, he had a law, and it was an extremely tolerant space law. Secondly, his sole intent had reached the God Lord level, and with the God's spiritual eye, his control was extremely strong. The chances of a mistake were very low. In addition, the time law contained in the ancestral artifact fragment could slow down time, further reducing the chances of a mistake. And he also had the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng that could increase his chances of breaking into the God Lord level. One day, a disciple of Spirit Grass Gate went to Zhao Feng's residence. Swish! A black-scaled man suddenly appeared in front of him, giving the Spirit Grass Gate disciple quite a fright. "My master is in seclusion. What business do you have?" The Black Destruction Dragon asked. "Traces of an ancient god expert have been discovered near Spirit Grass Gate. They might be targeting Senior Zhao." The Spirit Grass Gate disciple immediately left after saying this. "Just a trifling ancient god." The Black Destruction Dragon snorted and ignored him. To the north of Spirit Grass Gate, whoosh! Whoosh! The figures that were heading towards Spirit Grass Gate suddenly stopped. "Come out." The leader, a long-armed elder, turned to a certain place in the distance. Buzz! Bzzz! Several figures slowly emerged. The leader was a woman with skin as smooth as water and covered in silver-white stripes. "So it's the Sky Water Yao race." The long-armed elder's eyes flashed. This bewitching woman was none other than the patriarch of the Sky Water Yao race. "Brother Gongshu, you're preparing to capture and kill Zhao Feng, right?" The bewitching woman wickedly smiled. "I presume that the Sky Water Yao race has the same goal, but why are you hiding here? Could it be that you're afraid of Zhao Feng?" The long-armed elder was slightly puzzled. He had rushed over as soon as he received news of Zhao Feng's appearance. He originally thought that even if Zhao Feng had been captured, he might be able to get a share of the spoils. After all, his faction also had people imprisoned by Zhao Feng. However, when he arrived, the situation was very different from what he had imagined. "It looks like Brother Gongshu still doesn't know. The Origin Returning Sect discovered Zhao Feng's tracks long before we did and came looking for him. However, the origin returning sect returned empty-handed in the end. The bewitching woman slowly said. How is that possible? The long-armed elder's mind shook. The origin returning sect was even stronger than his faction, but they returned empty-handed? Could it be that there was an expert protecting Zhao Feng? If that's the case, then why are you still here? The long-armed elder glanced at the bewitching woman. The Sky Water Yao race was extremely cunning, so he did not completely believe her. A single faction might not be able to deal with Zhao Feng, but Zhao Feng offended at least 20 factions. Even if that brat has a first heaven god lord protecting him, he can't possibly fight against so many factions of the Gulong zone. The bewitching woman bewitchingly smiled. The Sky Water Yao race had suffered losses at the hands of Zhao Feng in the wild ancient secret dimension and the Gulong martial gathering. For Zhao Feng to be able to fight against a half-step godlord in such a short amount of time meant that he definitely had other heaven-defying treasures besides the Five Elements Palace and supreme quality divine artifacts that could help him break through. She had been a half-step godlord for hundreds of millions of years and had a deep desire for treasures that could help her break through. In addition, she was confident that Violet Night Hall would also be tempted. The long-armed elder was confident that the Sky Water Yao race would not remain here if there were no benefits, so they also remained here. Gradually, the long-armed elder realized that, every time a faction came, the Sky Water Yao race would intentionally leak their energy so that they would be discovered and recruited. The Sky Water Yao race truly is treacherous. The long-armed elder secretly made some preparations. In less than half a month, 12 4.5-star factions had gathered here. Chapter 1461. Within the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng was in seclusion within the territory of the Blood Flame Qilin race. The entire Blood Flame Qilin race was on guard for Zhao Feng. Your Excellency truly lives up to his reputation as the ninth god eye. You've become a god lord so quickly. The Blood Flame Qilin race patriarch had a look of reverence on his face. When he was a peak rank 9, Zhao Feng was only a rank 7 ancient god. Now that he had just broken through to the God Master realm, Zhao Feng was also beginning to break through to the God Master realm. Within the spacetime robe, Zhao Feng was in seclusion. At this moment, among the 9 divine stages in his body, the lowest divine stage was slowly transforming from a square to a round one. After a long time, the embryonic form of the altar was formed by Zhao Feng. However, this was only the beginning. What followed next was the crucial part. He had to compress the power of the other divine pedestals into the embryonic god altar, urging it to transform into a true god altar. Buzz! The second divine altar seemed to have melted, turning into liquid and merging with the embryonic divine altar below, causing it to become a bit more solid. Breaking into the God Lord realm was a difficult and slow process. One could not be impatient in the slightest. As for the origin ginseng of Heaven Void God, which could increase his chances of breaking through to the almighty level, Zhao Feng did not consume it immediately. He planned to consume it only when his god altar became unstable. That way, he would be able to maximize the medicinal effects of this precious material. Although Zhao Feng was in closed-door cultivation, he still had some understanding of Spirit Grass Gate's situation through his doppelgangers. At this moment, within the Spirit Grass Gate, many of the upper echelon members, as well as Xiahou Wu, had worried expressions. More and more experts of other factions were hiding in the area around Spirit Grass Gate, and there was no lack of half-step god lords among them. Even though the strongest member of Spirit Grass Gate was only a rank 7 ancient god, they had noticed long ago. What should we do? The 100 Herbs Gate Master frowned. Although they knew that there were many great powers hidden in the vicinity of Spirit Grass Gate, they couldn't do anything about it. If they offended the other party, Spirit Grass Gate might just be annihilated. But at this time, Zhao Feng shut his door and refused to come out. During this time, Xiahou Wu and Han Ning went to call Zhao Feng, but they were stopped by the Black Destruction Dragon. Sigh, fate is full of misfortunes. The heavens want to destroy our 100 Grass Gate. The upper echelons of Spirit Grass Gate could not help but sigh. Even now, many members of Spirit Grass Gate bore a grudge against Zhao Feng. Although Zhao Feng had easily resolved their crisis, he had brought an even greater crisis to Spirit Grass Gate. Most of the factions hidden near Spirit Grass Gate were far stronger than Spirit Grass Gate. These dangers had all been caused by Zhao Feng, but at the critical moment, Zhao Feng didn't appear. "Report, they're coming." At that moment, a hurried voice was heard in the hall. The faces of the upper echelon of Spirit Grass Gate, as well as Han Ning, and Xiahou Wu, changed. "I'll go get Brother Zhao. You guys hold them back. Every minute counts." Xiahou Wu hurriedly left after saying these words. Whoosh whoosh, one figure after another flew out of 100 Grass Gate. Rumble, wind and clouds surged violently in the surroundings while lightning, fire, ice, and snow intertwined, forming all sorts of phenomena. These are the 12 major powers. The 100 Gate Master's gaze swept across the area, and her legs began to tremble. Among these 12 forces, there were as many as 6 peak 4-star forces. Moreover, based on the 100 Gate Master's observations, the leaders of 5 of these peak 4-star factions were present. This meant that there were 5 half-step god lords. Whoosh! A pitch-black man whose body flickered with a golden luster stepped forward. This person was the Valley Master of Golden Dragon Valley, and Golden Dragon Valley was one of the strongest peak 4-star factions of the Gulong Zone. "Zhao Feng, come out and have a chat." The Golden Dragon Valley Master's sonorous voice rang out. Kaboom! This voice was accompanied by a gale that swept toward Spirit Grass Gate, causing all the members to lose their footing. They even felt like the Golden Dragon Valley Master was the entire world while they were just a blade of grass on the ground. Reporting to Senior, Zhao Feng, he, the 100 Gate Master, respectfully explained. "Did I ask you a question?" But before he could finish, the Golden Dragon Valley Master's cold voice interrupted him. On the surface, these factions had come to have a chat with Zhao Feng, but that was only limited to Zhao Feng. However, this was only limited to Zhao Feng. They didn't put the Spirit Grass Gate Master in their eyes at all. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, those without strength didn't even have the right to speak. Spirit Grass Gate has suffered a calamity this time. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master had a smug smile on his face. Although Yellow Dragon Pavilion had been intimidated by Zhao Feng, with so many factions here, how could Zhao Feng continue to act so mighty? Swish! A green figure appeared next to the Spirit Grass Gate group. "Seniors, Zhao Feng is currently busy," Xiahou Wu calmly said. The moment he said this, the members of Spirit Grass Gate knew that Zhao Feng still wasn't willing to appear. "Good sir must be a disciple of the life-sacred land. Since you have traveled so far to the Gulong Zone, why don't you come to the Sky Water Yao race? Our race will definitely receive you well." The bewitching woman of the Sky Water Yao race immediately stepped forward and issued an invitation. Instantly, Xiahou Wu's expression was somewhat ugly. On the surface, the Sky Water Yao race patriarch was inviting him, but in reality, he was telling him to distance himself from this matter. But if Xiahou Wu refused, he would not be giving any face to a half-step god lord, giving the Sky Water Yao race an excuse. How crafty! Xiahou Wu couldn't help but sigh. As Xiahou Wu was in a dilemma, a silver-robed and elegant man blinked to Xiahou Wu's side. This person was none other than Zhao Feng's clone, Zhao Kong. "What business do you have with my master? It's not convenient for him to see guests right now. You can just tell me," Zhao Kong calmly said. At the same time, his left eye flashed with a deep silver luster that seemed to fill the endless void. Peak rank 9, Eye of Spacetime. The half-step god lords instantly grimaced. If Zhao Kong hadn't called Zhao Feng his master, they might have even suspected that Zhao Kong was an expert of some major faction. Many people of the peak 4-star factions knew that Zhao Feng was a member of the spiritual race, but the spiritual race was very far away. This was the territory of the Gulong Zone, so there was nothing the spiritual race could do to deal with Zhao Feng. But if someone from a major faction were to appear, along with the life-sacred lands Xiaohu, they would truly have to reconsider. Everyone present is a person of status. We've personally come, but your master says that it's not convenient for him to see guests. Isn't he looking down on us too much? The long-armed elder stepped forward and coldly snorted. Back in the Gulong Zone, Zhao Feng imprisoned a member of my Golden Dragon Valley. Now that this god has personally come, he still refuses to see me. The Golden Dragon Valley master's expression chilled. Have Zhao Feng come out. Have him hand over a member of my Heavenly Star Pavilion. The experts of many factions began to voice their agreement. On the surface, these factions had come to negotiate, but what they truly wanted was to directly attack and kill Zhao Feng and seize his treasures. In the end, Zhao Feng was a member of the 5-star spiritual race. They could not openly attack him, so they could only use the pretense of negotiation to find a chance to strike. Enough nonsense. Have him come out. If he doesn't come out, then we'll go find him. The surrounding factions began to press down on Spirit Grass Gate, preparing to conduct a thorough search. Scram! The Golden Dragon Valley Master roared, and an invisible aura blasted towards Zhao Kong, who was blocking him. Whoosh! Whoosh! Everyone began to gather toward Zhao Feng's residence. At this moment, a furious roar resounded, impudent. The Black Destruction Dragon and Zhao Wang appeared. In a flash, a dreadful and oppressive energy began to spread through the area. All the experts below the half-step God Lord level trembled, their minds inexplicably panicking. At this moment, everyone was focused on the Black Destruction Dragon. This bloodline energy. Heavens, the Destruction Dragon race. Everyone present was stunned by the Black Destruction Dragon. It's actually the Destruction Dragon race. This race has destroyed countless dimensions and factions. It's an extremely evil race. The bewitching voice of the Sky Water Yao race woman rang out. Damned woman, what did you say? The Black Destruction Dragon's eyes chilled. Stand aside. The Golden Dragon Valley Master and the other half-step God Lord charged forward in an attempt to push back the Black Destruction Dragon. Seeking death. The Black Destruction Dragon's face was savage as it unleashed destructive dragon flames. The Black Destruction Dragon would do its utmost to complete the mission that Zhao Feng had given it. Moreover, it already knew what Zhao Feng was doing, so it could not allow these people to disturb Zhao Feng. The battle could begin at any moment. The members of Spirit Grass Gate immediately retreated. This was a battle between half-step God Lords. Ordinary true gods would simply be seeking death if they were nearby. In a distant mountain valley, bzzz. In the calm void, a pitch-black shadow suddenly appeared. They've started to fight. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes flashed with cold light. In truth, he did not want to see this situation. The two sides were evenly matched in strength, and he had no idea how long this battle would last. But for the sake of the 9th God he could at least endure this. I didn't think that this kid would have a destruction dragon at his side. It seems like we'll have a bountiful harvest this time. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes paused on the Black Destruction Dragon for a few moments, and then they exploded with a wicked light. He didn't care what the situation was like. All he knew was that in the end, Zhao Feng would fall into his hands. On the other side, the Violet Night Hall Lord and 3 others were rushing over. Zhao Feng hasn't been captured by some other faction, has he? A half-step God Lord was rather impatient. Violet Night Hall was in the center of the Gulong Zone, too far from the edge, so they had arrived rather late. Not long ago, the Xiling Zone spiritual race and the Blazing Gold race engaged in a major battle. Zhao Feng had an outstanding performance on the battlefield, even forcing back a god lord. The violet-robed Violet Night Hall Lord said, shrouded in violet mist. In truth, he had also received news that the ninth god eye had appeared in the Chixing Zone. Even more bizarre was that the owner of the ninth god eye was rumored to be called Zhao Feng. The Chixing Zone and the Xiling Zone were rather far from each other. In the Violet Night Hall Lord's view, the two were probably not the same person. How could this be? The half-step god lord from just now was stunned. Zhao Feng, who was only a quasi-god, was already strong enough to fight against a god lord. If those minor factions try to attack Zhao Feng, they will only be seeking their own destruction. In the end, this seat will have to personally end everything. The Violet Night Hall Lord unhurriedly said. In a few short decades, Zhao Feng had gone from a quasi-god to a level where he could fight against a god lord. No one would believe that he had no secrets. And during the 5-Star Mountain incident, Zhao Feng truly had imprisoned a member of Violet Night Hall. With this reason, the Violet Night Hall Lord could force Zhao Feng to obtain important benefits from him. Chapter 1462. Within the spacetime robe dimension, Zhao Feng was focused on breaking through to the God Lord level. Lights of various colors surged within his dantian. The God altar at the very bottom was much more solid than before. The God altar was covered in wondrous patterns of various colors that seemed to contain the truths of the world. Inside the God altar, the crystal-like divine power flowed quietly like water. And above the divine altar, there were still 3 divine altars left. These 3 divine stages were like 3 solid blocks of ice, slowly melting and flowing into the God altar below. Buzz. Bzzz. Suddenly, the God altar began to show signs of instability, surging with powerful and pure ripples of divine power. Swish. Zhao Feng immediately took out the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng and began to absorb the essence energy within it. A powerful and pure divine power flowed into his body. Under Zhao Feng's guidance, this special divine power poured into the God altar. Gradually, the God altar stabilized and became even harder and more translucent. The Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng could stabilize the God altar at a crucial moment and pour in powerful energy, making the God altar even stronger. After taking the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng, Zhao Feng pushed himself to break through. At this crucial moment in his breakthrough, he could still receive information from the outside world. He didn't need to communicate with his clones to see what they were seeing. Above Spirit Grass Gate, the battle could begin at any moment. But only the top-class experts of the major factions could truly participate in this battle. After all, ordinary ancient gods couldn't even take a single breath of the Black Destruction Dragon's Destruction Dragon flame. Scram! The Golden Dragon Valley Master angrily roared. You talk a lot of nonsense. The Black Destruction Dragon fearlessly charged forward, its boundless Destruction Dragon flame. Kaboom! The black and red flames condensed into a massive flame dragon, exuding a destructive energy as it howled forward. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's face turned grave as a massive golden axe appeared in his right hand. Swoosh! With a wave of the axe, massive beams of golden light shot forward. But when the two collided, the Golden Dragon Valley Master's attack was instantly devoured by the Black Flame Dragon. The Golden Dragon Valley Master couldn't help but retreat when he sensed the destruction energy in the Black Destruction Dragon's attack. Damn, the Destruction Dragon race! The Golden Dragon Valley Master's face darkened with anger. They were both half-step god lords, but his bloodline was completely useless in front of the Black Destruction Dragon. In the first exchange, he was at a disadvantage. We'll help you. The patriarch of the Sky Water Monstrous clan and the long-armed old man joined hands and rushed over when they saw that the situation wasn't good. What's the use of you lot? The Black Destruction Dragon roared at the sky, its bloodline power sweeping out in all directions. Not far away, the normal real gods who had not participated in the battle spat out a mouthful of blood under the impact of the extremely strong bloodline, and they retreated simultaneously. Dragon Flame Pearl. The Black Destruction Dragon opened its mouth and spat out a red pearl with dragon inscriptions. The Black Destruction Dragon possessed one of the top 10 ancient bloodlines and a supreme quality divine weapon. Its true fighting power was enough to challenge a god lord. World-destroying Dragon Blast. The Black Destruction Dragon's entire body unleashed boundless scarlet-black flames, which then condensed into 3 enormous fire dragons that simultaneously attacked the 3 half-step godlords. Not even the Golden Dragon Valley Master dared to be careless in the face of the Destruction Dragon Flame. He activated his defensive techniques and began to clash with it. On the other side, the bewitching woman of the Sky Water monstrous race had stronger techniques and was skilled in defense, so she was able to block. However, the long-armed elder's bloodline was too weak, so he was at a disadvantage. Scram! The Black Destruction Dragon roared and attacked without any regard for anything else. This sort of life-and-death attack left the 3 half-step god lords reeling in fear and forcing them to back up. The Destruction Dragon race truly lived up to its reputation. So powerful. Why would one of the top 10 ancient bloodlines serve Zhao Feng? The Golden Dragon Valley Master was alarmed. So what if it's strong? As long as we can hold it down, the others, the long-armed elder had only spoken halfway when he abruptly stopped. He had been hoping that the others would kill Zhao Kong and Zhao Wang and then come help them. But when he scanned with his divine sense, he saw that the situation on the other side was not very optimistic. Although Zhao Kong and Zhao Wang were only peak rank 9, they were both God-Eye descendants and had supreme quality divine artifacts. Against ordinary half-step god lords, they had a certain advantage. This was especially true for Zhao Kong. His Eye of Spacetime had reached the quasi-God-Eye level, and his speed and attacks were so fast that no one could react. Whoosh! Whoosh! White blades filled the air in front of him, wantonly slicing through the air. Kaboom! A white-haired old man flew out from within. There were many wounds on his body, and there were many wounds on his body. Damn! The Eye of Spacetime and a Spacetime Supreme Quality Divine Artifact. The white-haired elder had an extremely nasty grimace. He was a half-step godlord, but he couldn't even do anything to a peak rank 9. The battle in the sky above Spirit Grass Gate had all the nearby experts stunned. How could this be? Not even half-step godlords can do anything to Zhao Feng's subordinates. The other members of the factions found this sight impossible to believe. In terms of cultivation, they had the absolute advantage, and in terms of numbers, they also had 2 more people. But in this battle, they were at a disadvantage. In addition, there were very few people who could interfere in a battle of this level. The Black Destruction Dragon was defending Spirit Grass Gate, and its Destruction Dragon Flame could almost instantly slay a rank 9 ancient god. In contrast, Spirit Grass Gate was similarly shocked, but they were even more elated and excited. So powerful. Are these all Zhao Feng's subordinates? The Spirit Grass Gate Master's eyes went slack. Zhao Feng's subordinates were not only powerful, but they also had significant backgrounds. 2 God-Eye descendants and 1 from a mythical race that ranked in the top 10 ancient races. In all his life, this was the first time he had seen a race that ranked in the top 10 ancient races. He was deeply impressed by their supreme fighting power. I just knew that Brother Zhao would have a backup plan. Xiahou Wu faintly smiled. But what was Zhao Feng doing? Why hadn't he come out yet? In the distant valley, God Lord Tyrant Dragon saw all of this. As expected of the 9th God-Eye. He's gathered quite a few decent subordinates, but if he still doesn't come out, the situation will be very bad. God Lord Tyrant Dragon gave a savage smile. His goal was also to capture Zhao Feng, but the 9th God-Eye still hadn't come out. Just what was he doing? 9th God-Eye, hurry and come out. God Lord Tyrant Dragon had an excited and expectant look on his face. The 8 great god eyes were unique in the world, comparable to the ancestors of the top 10 ancient races. And just what sort of existence was the 9th god eye? Boom! Bang! Crash! Above Spirit Grass Gate, the top-class experts of both sides fiercely clashed. But even now, the Black Destruction Dragon, Zhao Wang, and Zhao Kong were barely injured. As for the half-step god lords of the other factions, they were somewhat wounded. In particular, the white-haired elder fighting with Zhao Kong had suffered rather severe injuries and probably wouldn't be able to last much longer. Damn! If just his 3 subordinates are this powerful, just how strong is Zhao Feng himself? The Golden Dragon Valley Master couldn't help but feel an inexplicable fear when he thought about this. But when he thought about it, more than 60 years ago, Zhao Feng was just a quasi-god. He definitely couldn't be that strong now. He probably didn't come out because he was too weak, so he had his subordinates do it. At this moment, Golden Dragon Valley Master, you're truly too unsightly. Laughter resounded in the distance. Pavilion Master Chen, hurry and lend us a hand. The Golden Dragon Valley Master called out, his expression grim. The Black Destruction Dragons group was extremely strong and was able to temporarily stop them. But some other factions were still rushing over. When the time came, no matter how many tricks the Black Destruction Dragons group had up their sleeves, they would still be doomed. I didn't think that I would be able to see the Destruction Dragon race with my own eyes. Pavilion Master Chen flew over, a golden sword in his hand. As he attacked, he unleashed countless beams of golden light. The Black Destruction Dragon's expression darkened. Even it found it somewhat difficult to deal with 4 half-step god lords at the same time. But by relying on its Destruction Dragon body, it could continue. The situation isn't good. Xiahou Wu was rather worried. If this stalemate continued, more and more experts would enter the fray. Even if there were no half-step god lords, the enemy had the advantage in numbers, and they would be able to exhaust the Black Destruction Dragons group to death. But not long after, laughter resounded in the distance. This old man came at just the right time. That-ish. A goateed elder, his eyes flashing with green light, descended. In a flash, a mighty energy that could suppress all filled the world. All the half-step god lords present, including the Black Destruction Dragon, felt an invisible pressure. Could this person be the famous soul-cleaving old ghost of the Gulong Zone? He's a first heaven god lord. The Spirit Grass Gate Master turned ghastly pale. He hadn't expected for this battle to draw over a god lord. Once a god lord took action, everything would soon be over. God Lord. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's pupils constricted, its face ashen. Soul-cleaving old ghost. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's face darkened. The soul-cleaving old ghost was a first heaven god lord, skilled in the soul Tao, and extremely powerful. He had never done anything without profit. If the soul-cleaving old ghost took action, the majority of the spoils would probably be his. But the Golden Dragon Valley Master could no longer make the decision in this situation. Let this old man kill all of you. Let's see if that Zhao Feng will come out or not. The soul-cleaving old ghost's dark green eyes swept over the Black Destruction Dragon, Zhao Kong, and Zhao Wang. I'll kill you first. The soul-cleaving old ghost's gaze fell on Zhao Wang. In the soul dimension, vast amounts of dark green soul energy formed a massive soul blade that slashed down from the sky. This blade was extremely sharp, and it seemed like it really could sever Zhao Wang's soul body. The blade was about to descend. Zhao Wang, who was only a peak rank 9, would definitely not be able to take this blow. But Zhao Wang's expression was extremely calm, as if he didn't care about this attack at all. You won't be able to kill anyone. Suddenly, an indifferent voice spoke. Boom! Hiss! A violet lightning dragon howled out of the soul dimension, causing the souls of all the nearby experts to tremble. Broom! The violet lightning dragon collided with the soul blade and destroyed it. Who goes there? The soul-cleaving old ghost bellowed, his face gloomy. There was actually someone present whose soul attack could compare to his own. Swish! Zhao Feng's figure appeared in the world, exuding a supreme energy that transcended all. This energy belonged to a god lord. Didn't you come to find me? Zhao Feng looked at the soul-cleaving old ghost, and then he scanned his surroundings. God Lord? The Golden Dragon Pavilion Master, the long-armed elder, and the others felt their minds ring. How could Zhao Feng be a god lord? In the distance, the leaders of the Yellow Dragon Pavilion and Nether Ghost race almost fainted. If they had known that Zhao Feng was a god lord, they would have never come to join in the fun. Chapter 1463. At this moment, Zhao Feng suddenly appeared and exuded the energy of a god lord. God Lord! The Golden Dragon Valley Master, the Sky Water Yao Race Patriarch, and the other half-step god lords instantly froze. They had never imagined that Zhao Feng was a god lord expert. If the soul-cleaving old ghost hadn't come, they would have all died without a grave. In the distance, the Spirit Grass Gate members seemed to have been struck by lightning, frozen to the spot. You're Zhao Feng. The soul-cleaving old ghost's dark green eyes carefully examined Zhao Feng. He believed that he could easily capture Zhao Feng this time, not that Zhao Feng was a god lord. Good sir has come here to make trouble and injure my subordinates. You must pay a grievous price. Zhao Feng stared straight at the soul-cleaving old ghost. Humph, you've only just become a god lord, but you're already so arrogant. The soul-cleaving old ghost narrowed his eyes in disdain. That god lord energy just now was clearly that of someone who had just broken through and could not be controlled. He had also walked on this path, so it was easy for him to determine this. The half-step god lords breathed a sigh of relief at these words. But someone who had just become a god lord was definitely no match for the soul-cleaving old ghost. Swish! With a wave of his robe, Zhao Feng took the Black Destruction Dragon and his clone into the space-time robe dimension. The soul-cleaving old ghost and the half-step god lords were confused. What did Zhao Feng mean by summoning back his subordinates? Their side had 6 half-step god lords and 1 god lord. Zhao Feng had only just become a god lord. Did he really have the confidence to contend against all of them? It seemed like it was just as the soul-cleaving old ghost said. This Zhao Feng was far too arrogant and conceited. Let me teach a lesson to a junior like you who just broke through. The soul-cleaving old ghost was rather excited and impatient to attack. Soul-breaking blade. Buzz. Buzz. Bzzz. In the soul dimension, 3 dark green sabers appeared above the soul-cleaving old ghost. The 3 soul-breaking blades hung in the sky, exerting an immense pressure on the nearby half-step god lords. In the distance, the spectating true gods and ancient gods felt like a saber was pressed against their necks. As expected of a Soul Dao god lord. To think that he would be so powerful. The Golden Dragon Valley Master was secretly alarmed. One of the 3 soul-breaking blades that the soul-crushing old ghost had unleashed could directly destroy his soul. Senior, we'll stop Zhao Feng for you, lest he escapes. The Golden Dragon Valley Master immediately said with a smile. With the current situation, once Zhao Feng was captured, all the benefits would belong to the soul-crushing old ghost. Therefore, he had to do something. After saying this, the Golden Dragon Valley Master shot a glance at the other half-step god lords. Whoosh! Whoosh! The half-step god lords immediately surrounded Zhao Feng. Let me see how many slashes you can take. With an evil smile on his face, the soul-breaking old ghost waved his hand. Swoosh! In the sky, the 3 soul blade fragments arrived above Zhao Feng and descended one by one. Just as the first soul blade was about to hit Zhao Feng, however, Zhao Feng himself stood there leisurely, completely unmoved. Boom! The massive dark green blade slashed into Zhao Feng's body. In a flash, a sharp and tyrannical soul energy surged into Zhao Feng's soul body. Zhao Feng's soul intent had reached the God Lord level a long time ago. After becoming a God Lord, his soul intent had advanced another level. Coupled with the uniqueness of his lightning soul body, his soul defenses were so strong that not even a top-class First Heaven God Lord could break through them. In addition, Zhao Feng's God Spiritual Eye had also reached the God Eye level, further increasing his soul's ability to resist attacks. Kaboom! Boundless soul energy invaded Zhao Feng's soul body, but in the end, the energy was exhausted. When the saber descended, the surrounding crowd was astonished, their faces filled with astonishment. Even the soul-breaking old ghost himself was astonished. Was Zhao Feng not afraid of death? In the face of his soul attack, he didn't even try to dodge or do anything. But a moment later, the soul-breaking old ghost grimaced, feeling rather strange. This was because even though Zhao Feng had been struck by the soul-severing blade, he didn't seem to be affected at all. Boom! At this moment, the second soul-severing blade slashed down. As for Zhao Feng, he remained as unmoving as a mountain, seemingly unconcerned. The second soul-severing blade had no effect, and Zhao Feng was still standing there. The soul-severing old ghost's face was ashen. He was a Soul Dao God Lord, but he couldn't even do anything to a junior that had just become a God Lord. Boom! The strongest third soul-severing blade struck Zhao Feng's soul, but it still had no effect. The nearby half-step God Lords were dumbfounded. Is this real? The Golden Dragon Valley Master found this all too absurd and unbelievable. Junior, you truly do have a lot of good stuff on you. You even have a supreme quality divine artifact that protects the soul. The soul-breaking old ghost bellowed. That scene just now was far too humiliating for him, which was why the soul-breaking old ghost said this. But in his mind, this was also his conjecture. Hearing this, the people around him nodded. Zhao Feng definitely had a supreme quality divine artifact that protected the soul, or else there would be no other explanation for what just happened. Moreover, Zhao Feng was wearing the space-time robe, and his subordinates just now all had supreme quality divine artifacts. It was completely reasonable for him to have a supreme quality divine artifact. Humph, ignorant. Zhao Feng snorted. He had not been in a rush to strike because he was getting used to his God Lord divine power, and he had also been able to test out his soul defenses. But now, it was time to end this. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, strength was everything. Everything should be resolved with strength. Swish! Zhao Feng's figure flickered away. The soul-breaking old ghost flipped his palm, and a green dagger appeared. That-ish. He suddenly stabbed forward. Space rippled in front of the dagger, and Zhao Feng appeared. Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword. Zhao Feng extended a palm, Chaos Origin Divine Power surging out and instantly condensing into a dark silver sword. This sword was so condensed that it seemed real, and countless dark streams of light flowed through it. Swish! At the same time, tribulation lightning patterns appeared above it. Boom! Bang! The two swords clashed, and the soul-breaking old ghost's dark green dagger was sent flying. How could this be? The soul-breaking old ghost grimaced. In that clash of divine power just now, he had been defeated. But hadn't Zhao Feng just become a God Lord? How could a divine power attack be so powerful? But now was not the time to think about this. Zhao Feng's peerlessly powerful lightning sword was already descending. Not good. The soul-breaking old ghost discovered that he had been enveloped by a time law. He couldn't dodge even if he wanted to. Boom! Hiss! The Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword pierced through the soul-breaking old ghost's chest, creating a splash of blood. Plush! The soul-breaking old ghost vomited a mouthful of blood as he stared in a daze at Zhao Feng. At this moment, boundless chaos origin tribulation lightning divine power was wreaking havoc and devouring everything within his body. This dreadful destructive power made him not dare to believe that this was real. Die! Zhao Feng gripped the chaos origin divine sword and mobilized the pure divine power in his god altar. Boom! Hiss! The chaos origin divine sword instantly swelled in power, and the sword itself doubled in size. Ah! A shrill scream resounded through the world, making one's hair stand on end. Boom! Whoosh! Zhao Feng's sword slashed through the air, cleaving the soul-breaking old ghost's body in two. Whoosh! The two scorched halves of the soul-breaking old ghost's body dropped to the ground. Everything within his divine body had been completely destroyed, including his soul. The soul-breaking old ghost had been severed by a single sword strike from Zhao Feng. The 6 half-step god lords around him were ghastly pale, their legs constantly trembling. This soul-breaking old ghost was just talking nonsense. How could he kill a god lord so easily after just becoming a god lord? How could he be so strong? The bewitching woman of the Sky Water Yao race was completely terrified. Now that she thought about it, all her previous actions had been suicidal. In the distant valley, God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes flashed with a strange light. As expected of the 9th God Eye. After becoming a God Lord, killing God Lords of the same level is so easy. God Lord Tyrant Dragon was rather excited. All of you, have you all come to settle accounts with this Zhao? Zhao Feng barked. An invisible soul pressure swept out in all directions. The 6 half-step god lords felt like their souls were being bombarded by countless bolts of lightning, their bodies aching and numbing. Even farther away, the true gods and ancient gods were also affected, their bodies numbing and losing consciousness. At this moment, there was absolute silence. Zhao Feng had even killed a god lord, so how could they dare to make trouble for Zhao Feng? Wasn't that just seeking death? But right at this moment, an even more powerful aura descended upon them. Kaboom! In a flash, the sky was dyed violet, and the air was shrouded in a hazy violet mist. Zhao Feng, you're quite bold. You dare to act so brashly in the Gulong Zone and even kill a god lord of the Gulong Zone. A violet-robed elder slowly emerged from the violet mist. Next to the elder were 3 half-step god lords. Violet Night Hall. The Golden Dragon Valley Master rejoiced. Violet Night Hall was one of the 3 5-star factions of the Gulong Zone. Moreover, the one who had come this time was the Violet Night Hall Lord, a second heaven god lord. None of the factions present had expected the Violet Night Hall Lord to personally come. It's over. Even the Violet Night Hall Lord has come. The Spirit Grass Gate Master was deeply worried. Violet Night Hall was undoubtedly one of the behemoths of the Gulong Zone. Zhao Feng is already a god lord. Violet Night Hall probably won't make things difficult for Zhao Feng over a minor matter from back then. An elder of Spirit Grass Gate said. As long as Zhao Feng controlled his temper and had a proper talk with Violet Night Hall, this matter could be concluded. So you're saying that Violet Night Hall has also come to make trouble for this Zhao? Zhao Feng looked at the Violet Night Hall Lord and coldly said. The fact that the Violet Night Hall Lord had personally come meant that Violet Night Hall was prepared to attack him from the very start. There was almost no chance of negotiation. Thus, Zhao Feng couldn't be bothered to waste words. You're making trouble in the territory under Violet Night Hall's jurisdiction. How can Violet Night Hall let you do as you please? The Violet Night Hall Lord was rather displeased by Zhao Feng's attitude. However, he was almost certain that Zhao Feng had some sort of heaven-defying treasure in his possession, one that far surpassed supreme-quality divine artifacts. Otherwise, Zhao Feng would have never been able to reach the God Lord level so quickly, much less kill a first heaven God Lord. If he could obtain Zhao Feng's treasure, the overall strength of Violet Night Hall would receive a massive boost. Boom! The violet mist around the Violet Night Hall Lord became so thick that normal people couldn't even see him clearly. The half-step god lords closer to the Violet Night Hall Lord felt that their vision was blurry, and they began to hallucinate. A few moments later, the world had become a gloomy violet hell. Run! The nearby half-step god lords grimaced and immediately retreated. In the distant valley, God Lord Tyrant Dragon was a little interested. Ninth God, can you fight against a second heaven God Lord? God Lord Tyrant Dragon was rather curious. But no matter what the outcome of this battle was, he would be the final winner. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.